Broadcasting worldwide from the beautiful hill country in Texas, this is OneRadioNetwork.com. Well, a very pleasant good morning to you. This is Patrick Timpone. What's shaking? Bacon? Nitrite-free bacon? What's going on? Oh, boy, it's another day in paradise, another week of broadcast shows for you. Here we have it on OneRadioNetwork.com. Yeah. It is the 10th of February. I think Sharon was telling me over the weekend that 3/4 of the United States had snow on the ground. That's crazy, Maisie. In just a moment, you'll meet Tony Pantalleresco, just a guy who knows the great stuff about your health. He's here on the second Monday of every month, and that would be today. Tomorrow, Alexander Dunlop, Game Master Life Coach. I think you're going to like this fellow. He sounds like he's going to be a real good one. Andrew Goss, Real World of Money. We're going to talk about some of these alternative sugars and how bad they really are on Thursday. And also feng shui on Thursday. Tony Pantalleresco, are you feng shui'd this morning?
I'm alive this morning.
Yeah. Do you guys do feng shui up in Canada?
People do. I don't. I just go by my day. I have my own routine and set up and doing, what I do and how I do things, what works for me. Feng shui, I think, is a good idea for people who have no organization to help them become more organized.
Are you an organized guy?
No, never.
Really? I saw your little kitchen on your YouTube videos. You look organized. You look like you got your stuff all in the right spot and everything.
How long have you? That was how long ago?
I don't know. I've only seen a couple.
I've evolved since then, and how much more chaotic my life has become. We've done these videos.
Really?
Oh my gosh, you have no idea.
How often do you do videos now?
We just did 4 yesterday. We try to do.
Wow.
We try to do 4 or 5 at a time. Then we release them every so often, like every couple of weeks we try to release them. So yesterday we did one on for PMS, for women who are suffering from PMS, a herbal remedy that I found anyway, that seems to help a lot of them with the hot flashes and the discomforts of going through that phase.
Oh.
We made what else did we do? Did one on baby creams for the backside so that you can make a natural cream very easily.
Mm-hmm.
We did... I can't even remember all we did. Life's a blur these days. So
yeah, just one big blur, isn't it?
Yeah. We did a lot. The next segments we're going to be talking about energy and ATP and how to make your own ATP formulas.
Oh, cool.
Actually, I want to talk about that a little bit on the show today so people can get started on that.
Oh, good. That'll be fun.
Because a lot of people are looking at, energy. We're all tired and we're using a lot of these herbal remedies and whatnot. And again, it boils down to ATP production. If you don't have that going, then all these herbs you're taking are not going to be much help.
Okay, well, I'll put that on my list. I'm going to start with this question to you. We hear quite a bit about this time of the year when it gets overcast and you don't see the sun, right?
Yeah.
And how it affects the body. How does it affect the body? And then when we don't get the sun, do you think we should take some, Tony, in your opinion, some vitamin D3?
You can, and I do encourage it during the summer, winter months more so than the summer. I mean, depending on where you live too. I mean, living down your neck of the woods, you don't need a whole lot of vitamin D unless you're not outdoors at all.
Right.
Okay, like where I'm at, where Windsor, Ontario is, we go so far south into the United States. If we were to draw a straight line, we'd be right at the parallel of Northern California. So we don't really need a whole lot of it here either in the summer months. But in the winter months, yeah, definitely I'd say 1,000 to 2,000 IUs a day, or what I found for me, because I'm being Mediterranean and needing the sun, I was usually going through a lot of depression issues myself with the winter because I don't really care. But what I found that when I took iodine with butter, it all cleared up, because butter has natural occurring vitamin D in it.
Oh.
So, and the iodine also regulates mood and elevates things as well. So, again, depending on each person, dietary lifestyles, that's all going to be contingent to how much you should be doing, what you should be doing, exposure to the sun. Especially now with us, we don't have really any blue skies here. We haven't seen a blue sky here probably in 20 years since they've been chemtrailing. So that in itself is going to diminish any solar radiation that we need to trigger the vitamin D response in the skin. So again, if you're living in California, which is the worst state in the union for chemtrails, they would probably suffer the most as far as vitamin D diminishment if they're indoors all the time, which would be to avoid the chemtrail activity going on outside.
Does the vitamin D, does that satisfy this kind of craving for light when we get these overcast days and just get a lack of light? I know people buy some lights and they sit in front of those. And does vitamin D, is that what it's doing, or do you still need some light?
You still need light. The D can offset the D because your skin triggers an enzyme that produces vitamin D. And so when you're not getting that sunlight and you're getting these fluorescent lights and these CFL lights, they actually create more problems for you, and they actually can cause a diminishment of the vitamin D. So it may have an effect in that regard, but you still need some kind of UV exposure.
I wonder if these full spectrum, what do you call them, fluorescents, when they get the whole full light thing. We used to have them when we had a food company so we could see the real color of the spaghetti sauce.
Right.
I wonder, do you think are those helpful?
They might on some people. Again, it all depends, like I said, on lifestyle, contingencies, diet. I mean, there's a lot of factors that go along with it. Like I said, I don't get out in the sun as much, but I don't suffer from the SAD like I used to at all either. But that's since I started incorporating iodine in my regimen.
So the iodine helps.
Oh, huge.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of it may be due to cultural connection as well. I mean, if you're from an area or you have an ancestry or an ethnicity of an area where, again, iodine is in the diet and you're not getting that too can cause a problem. So I think there's more than just one factor, more than just one vitamin that's going to be utilized.
Sure.
I mean, there were some idiots out there that came out and said now doctors are saying that vitamin D was a waste of money and all this crap. Now, I'm not a big, huge fan of vitamin D, but I do believe it has lots of benefits. I got a friend of mine in Minnesota that swears by vitamin D as the end-all, be-all, do-all, and that's great and wonderful because he has seen a lot of positive uses for vitamin D and seen how it's affected people in his area. He lives in Minnesota. I live in Ontario, and again, I don't see it doing what it's doing there in Minnesota for him in Minnesota anyway. So I think it all depends on where you are and how much exposure you get. I mean, here in the summer months, people walk around here half naked. They got shorts on, T-shirts, and they're out in the sun. Whereas maybe in Minnesota they're not getting as much sun. I don't know. I mean, it seems to be there is a difference in the disparity in what people are deficient in there as opposed to what we're deficient in here.
Yeah.
Here, vitamin C is the big one here that you need. Iodine for sure. That's a big deficiency. And magnesium seem to be the big three here that people are missing or lacking.
Why do we get so low magnesium? You keep hearing that. What's that about?
Well, again, I got to read you something today. This will explain a lot to you.
Okay.
I think this is going to be probably an eye-opener for you, too. I don't know, maybe you've already seen this. But I want to read this to you because this is what's going on. And I think this is reasons why so many people are having issues with food, including the organics. Let me read this to you. This is from Codex Alimentarius. Okay, this is their stipulation in any country or culture that is connected to Codex has to follow these guidelines. This is why farmers like the Amish are being arrested for raw milk, or unpasteurized milk, I should say, and all these things. Let me read this to you. All nutrients, vitamins and minerals are to be considered toxins, poisons, and are to be removed from all food because Codex prohibits the use of nutrients to prevent, treat, or cure any condition or disease. All food, including organic, is to be irradiated, removing all toxic nutrients from food. Nutrients allowed will be limited to a positive list developed by Codex, which will include such beneficial nutrients like fluoride, developed from environmental waste, All other nutrients will be prohibited nationally and internationally to all Codex-compliant countries. Unfortunately, Canada and the United States are Codex-compliant. All nutrients, example, CQ10, vitamins A, B, C, D, zinc, and magnesium that have any positive health impact on the body will be deemed illegal under Codex and are to be reduced to amounts negligible to human health. All advice on nutrition, this is where I break the law big time here, all advice on nutrition, including written, online, or journal articles or oral advice to a friend, family member, or anyone, will be illegal. All dairy cows are to be treated with Monsanto's recombinant bovine growth hormone. All animals used for food are to be treated with potent antibiotics and exogenous growth hormones. The reintroduction of deadly carcinogenic organic pesticides that in 1991, 176 countries, including the United States, have banned worldwide, including 7 of the 12 worst at the Stockholm Convention on persistent organic pesticides. Example, hexachlorobenzene, toxaphene, and eldrin will be allowed back into the food at elevated levels. Dangerous and toxic levels of aflatoxin in milk produced from moldy storage conditions of animal feed will be allowed. Aflatoxin is the second most potent non-radioactive carcinogen compound known to man. Mandatory use of growth hormones and antibiotics on all food herds, fish, and flocks. Worldwide implementation of unlabeled GMOs into crops, animals, and fish. The only thing that they don't cover here is if you buy your food from a gardener or a farmer that is organic, I shouldn't say organic, clean. I'd rather use the word clean because organic really means a whole lot of nothing today. That is the only way you're going to be able to get food today that has the proper nutritional value. So when you say to me, why is magnesium a big problem? This is why. If there's even the organics are being grown with glyphosates today, which actually reduce the load and the value of the organic crop. So when they're saying to you today that organics and conventional foods have no difference in value, they're absolutely right in what they're saying. It's not because the farmers are trying to purposely sabotage you, because there are some farmers that are really growing really good things, and I don't doubt for a minute they are growing the right stuff. But by the time it's being sent to market, it's been irradiated, it's been stripped right now, there's nothing left. So this is why so many people are not getting the recovery capacity like they once did.
So you're getting this is directly from the Codex thing. But I know the Codex has been around for a while, but I've not heard any direct experience where they're literally enforcing this to that kind of degree.
Are you kidding me? The United States is irradiating everything that comes into the country.
Oh, maybe come in, but not necessarily coming from, say, California to Whole Foods and.
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't bet the bank on that. I really wouldn't.
I'd bet the other way that it's not.
You will do some research on it. I would disagree with you on that one.
Really?
Yeah, I would. There's nothing in California that I would buy in Ontario. We've had some of their fruit here, and it's just pure garbage. And we're talking the clean stuff. It's just has no value, no nothing.
I just can't, Tony. I just can't imagine with the organic food companies in California that are selling to the natural food stores, the Trader Joe's of the world and all that. That if this wasn't going on, that they wouldn't be screaming to high heavens.
Are you kidding me? No. Give your head a shake. They were the first ones to stop the banning of labeling of GMOs when this was going on in California. They were the very first ones on the front line there. I mean, that is to me that's ludicrous. They banned the labeling of GMOs, and if you look at a lot of the top, like Cheerios and General Mills and some of the stuff that Trader Joe's is getting, and even Whole Foods, which is a joke, they were all on that bandwagon to stop the labeling of GMOs. That to me is contrary to what's really going on.
No, wait, you're saying the organic people were.
You got to remember, the organic means nothing today. Even the definition of organic, when you really look at it, means absolutely nothing. Basically, the organic entitlement that's there is nothing but about farming practices. It has nothing to do with food safety, nothing at all, nor about food purity. And if you look at the USDA, the record on the USDA, we did a show on this. It starts back in 1907. They were devaluing the food safety of the United States since 1907. They were taking anything out of the food industry that had any health benefits whatsoever. That little green sticker to me is nothing more than an indication of a plot or a system to undermine the health of Americans. Why are so many Americans sick? Why are so many kids?
Well, most Americans, I mean, very few people eat organic in America. What is it, 5% of the?
No, it's not that they're not eating organic. Or you got to remember, organic, all that means is carbon-based. What they're not eating is foods that are full of nutritional value.
Well, that's what I
Nobody
mean.
can do that anywhere in Canada or the United States. Unless you're growing it yourself, or you know the farmer that's planting the stuff and it's not gone through the system, as you're bypassing the system, yeah, you're going to get what you're supposed to be getting. People here are a lot healthier in the summer months because a lot of them are growing their own gardens or buying the stuff straight from the farm itself. Whereas in the winter months, this is when they seem to have a lot of their problems because they're buying all these imported foods from Venezuela and South America and South Africa and the United States. So when we're getting a lot of our foods and fruits from outdoors, they have no value. Ever get an apple and chop it up, cut it in half, see how long it takes for it to brown? When you and I were kids, way back in the days after the dinosaurs, you used to peel an apple, it would go brown in 10 seconds. It doesn't happen that way because even the apples are being irradiated. I've done that myself, or I've tested that myself when I was down in Arizona. I took an apple and chopped it up. It took 5 days before it started going brown. 5 days. And I was up in Washington where I was getting apples directly from a guy's farm who wasn't spraying, and as soon as you peel the apple, it went brown immediately because the skin of the apple acts as an antioxidant to protect the oxidation from the apple to turn brown. That was not happening in the store-bought stuff.
My apples turn brown in the fridge when I only eat a half. They'll turn brown in the fridge.
They will eventually, but usually in the old days, cut an apple, turn brown in 10 seconds. Okay, that's not happening anymore.
Well, I don't. Just for the record, I don't think it's as dismal as you paint it to be. You may be right, but I don't think it is. Otherwise, there'd be more people eating organic foods that are really sick.
There are.
How come?
I guess I see them all the time.
Really?
Yeah, I see them all the time. I don't see any difference anymore with what's going on. I mean, like I said, I got people coming to me from all over. I mean, I got vegans coming to see me, and they look like hell. I got vegetarians coming to see me, they look like hell. I got meat eaters coming to see me, they look like hell. Because they're so imbalanced and they're not getting anything from the food. So then I have to give them either a supplement or a herbal remedy to help balance out the equation. I have to tell them to take certain baths, help pull out any excess radiation in their systems. I mean, there's a lot of things going on. And I don't think the food supply today has any value whatsoever, and I think it's being done on purpose. And I think today, from my estimation, research, and the people I'm dealing with, the illnesses that we're dealing with today have nothing to do with what we were dealing with in yesteryear. We're dealing with genetically advanced pathogens that are, again, by design to either suppress or undermine the capacity of the cells to breathe, undermine the cell's energy, undermine the myelin sheath protection, undermining the whole reproductive system, digestive system, because it seems to me, just in my own personal observation, 3 years, that the biggest targets that people are suffering from are digestive and reproductive, and that's where the majority of these foods, by design, are to undermine and to debilitate. So
yeah, there are a lot of digestive challenges, boy, I tell you.
Sure, well, that's what I'm saying, because the food itself is either lacking enzymes or lacking minerals to produce enzymes or lacking the proper antioxidants to be processed properly so that free radicals are being pulled out. When they're eating all this soy and being promoted as some sort of wonder food, when you look at it, there's nothing in it that's of any wonder at all. It's a wonder that we're eating it at all. The way it strips out minerals, the way it strips out proteins, the way it strips out B vitamins, the way it coats the system. And because of the genetics of the soy today, it actually grows and thrives inside your system. There are people who have been eating foods who have been genetically engineered who are now producing pesticides in their colon as a result of these foods. So, I mean, I'm not seeing clearly anymore any difference between the organic food and the whole food and the conventional foods. And like I stated before on the show, that if you plant a GMO crop anywhere near these foods, they will be contaminated. There is no such thing as a clean whole food anymore. I think today, the United States and Canada needs to do what that woman in Michigan did, grow a garden in the front yard. I think everybody needs to grow gardens in front and backyard. I think they should pull all the grass off their lawns and start using it for food production, because I don't believe what you're getting today has any margin of safety. When Whole Foods can come out and tell you that organics and GMOs can coexist, That is the biggest pile of rubbish ever came out of a company.
Where did they say that?
They said that 2 years ago when they came out and stated that because Monsanto, I think, has invested in them, and they come out and said they're no longer going to debate the organic and non-organic issue. That organics and you can look it up.
But they've already announced that.
They announced that organic.
They announced that they're taking all GMOs out. I think in 4 more years, totally out.
I'll believe that when I see it.
No, I mean they put it. That was a big announcement. You didn't see that?
What I saw, they said that organics and GMO because they.
Well, you missed that one. No, they announced last year that they.
All right, go look up what I just told you.
Look up what I just told you.
I will look it up. But I'm telling you,
within 5 years, they said they were not going to have GMOs in their stores.
I'll believe it when I see it because I believe Monsanto has invested money in them because their stock jumped from.
I don't think so.
I
know the owner there, and I know the guy that runs the place. Started it 30 years ago.
Go look
He's
it up.
a friend of mine. I don't think so.
Look it up.
I don't. Where did you get that? You show me that. Send me that.
I will send it to you. I'll have to look it up. I got it. I got it in one of my scripts on my radio show.
Okay.
So yeah, they came right out and said that organics and.
I just looked up. Hold on a second. I just looked up a place called Big Tree Organic. I have no idea who they are. Let's see if we can get somebody.
Press 1 for English.
Yeah. Well.
Presión.
Welcome to Local Phone. Please enter your account number.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that. What is that about?
I don't know. It just came out of nowhere.
Local phone. Okay, come on, local phone.
The number you have entered is invalid.
Well, give me a break here. Okay, hold on a second. We're going to go 1209. Of course, this might not be right. 6224420. Let's see if we get local phone. This is Tony. This is Big Tree Organic Farms, founded in 1998.
Press 1 for.
Well, I'm going to find a different one. Hold on a second. Daniel Vitalis, let's play a game. On a desert island, you can only pick one food. Just one. Just only one.
If I had to live off of one food, I think it would be, if I had any choice, it would probably be colostrum. It's the most complete food that I know of. And the thing about colostrum is the first food for any mammal. So it's kind of a no-brainer that colostrum contains all essential fats, it contains all essential amino acids, it contains all essential glyconutrients, which are carbohydrates. It basically contains every substance that we need to maintain our bodies. The first milking you get from a cow after the cow calves is called colostrum. Every milking thereafter is called transitional milk, and what it is it's part colostrum and part milk. So that's something that can happen in the industry because people will sell you the transitional milk and call it colostrum. We're very careful not to do that. We only use the first milking of the animals.
Pure colostrum from Surthrival. They take the moisture out. That's it. To order, click on the picture of colostrum, front page, oneradionetwork.com. You got a 10% deal working on colostrum.
Call cannot be completed as dialed.
Nobody's got the right kind of telephone number there. We'll find a farm. We're just going to call them out of the blue and see if they know about Codex Alimentarius. I'm really interested. If they got a Codex things hanging on their wall and they got to go by this, like Tony said. If they do, boy, I'm going to just ramp up the garden. How the Rebound Air, we offer it on oneradionetwork.com, and Al Carter's here. He's the head of the company and one of the foremost experts on rebounding. We had a cancer doctor on, Al, not long ago that talked about how they use the health bounce, standing on the mat alone, not even leaving the mat, for lymphatic drainage with cancer patients. Why is that?
Well, the lymphatic system is filled with millions of one-way valves, and as you jump up and down without the feet even leaving the mat, those one-way valves are opening and closing. When you have a million of one-way valves opening and closing 100 times a minute, you are actually cleaning out the entire body. It's like an internal vacuum cleaner.
Seems amazing that you can really have health benefits, something so fun and easy as just standing there bouncing up and down. But it can be done, right, Al Carter?
Yeah, it can be done. In fact, children love to jump up and down on anything and everything, including brothers and sisters. Rebound exercise is just the ideal thing for keeping children healthy.
These are really great deals. $319 delivered, tax title license. $319. Tony talks a lot about the lymph system, how important it is. We know it is. So this is a nice way to move that lymph system. and then you can actually build your booty. We call it buildthebooty.com, and you just kind of, keep a nice little booty working there, and it's pretty cool. And build muscles, too, if you use some weights. These are $319 delivered, tax title license, the Rebound Air from Rebound Air. It's a rebounder, you know what I mean.
My name is Stephen Hewer. In an effort to heal myself of mercury poisoning and the effect it had on my body, I have been reading and applying holistic methods of healing to my body for over 36 years. If you apply the advice I'm about to share with you, you will support the restoration of your optimal health. When consuming this health food, you will support a better mood and endurance. As you detoxify your body thoroughly, then the toxic gases they give off will disappear from your blood, lungs, and breath. Your breath will become free of any offensive odor. This power food will also support the elimination of inflammation and the pain it is causing, and will contribute to a better complexion. Health and beauty are the natural result of a well-nourished body free of toxins. Every health benefit I've just described has already happened for many other people. What is the one protein power food in nature that you can, for the first time, get in its undamaged state? It is unheated whey protein powder from grass-fed cows. In late 2010, the U.S. market was introduced for the first time to a truly unheated, undamaged whey protein powder called One World Whey. If you'd like to order One World Whey, you can just click and order it right here on OneRadioNetwork.com. That's OneRadioNetwork.com.
Okay, now we're calling Willow Creek Farms. I just Googled organic farm, Tony, in California.
The article here right now in the Whole Foods. It was done.
Hello.
21st.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning. Is this Willow Creek Farm?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Patrick Timpone. We're doing a little radio show here, and we're just wondering, can you answer a question about Codex? Is there such a thing as Codex where you all have to irradiate your food and things like that?
Oh, well, I'm just one of the farmhands, if you will.
Yeah.
The person to contact would be the owner of the farm.
Yeah. Have you ever heard about Codex?
I personally have not heard of Codex. No.
Do you all do anything to your? Do you have anybody telling you you can have certain nutrients in your food that you know
of? Not that I personally know of, but again, the manager of the farm is the best person to talk to about that.
Do you box it up after you grow it?
We do.
Mm-hmm. And then where do you ship?
Would you like? Yeah. Would you like to get the manager's number to ask him these questions?
Yeah. Where is he?
He's traveling in.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like his number.
Okay. That's 530.
Okay.
Let's see.
When's he gonna? Is he gonna be back at this number sometime soon?
He doesn't really answer this number.
Okay.
Yeah, this is like more the worker's phone.
Okay. 530.
Yes. 623. 7151.
And what's his name?
That's Mike.
Okay. Can we call Mike sometime this morning?
Yeah, I'm
okay.
pretty sure.
We'll call Mike. Thanks. Appreciate
okay.
it. Okay.
All right. Have a good day.
You too.
From the Hill Country in Texas, this is OneRadioNetwork.com.
Talk to Patrick now, 888-663-6386, or email patrick@oneradionetwork.com.
Okay, we'll call Mike and see if Mike knows about Codex.
Let me read you the article from Whole Foods. It was done January 21st, 2011.
Okay.
There?
Yeah.
Okay, let me read this article to you. The policy set for GE alfalfa will most likely guide policies for other GE crops as well. True coexistence is a must. In the wake of a 12-year battle to keep Monsanto's genetically engineered crops from contaminating the nation's 25,000 organic farms and ranches, America's organic consumer, and producer are facing betrayal. A self-appointed cabal of the organic elite, spearheaded by Whole Food Market, Organic Valley, and Stonyfield Farm, has decided.
Okay, now where are you reading this from?
This is their article. This is off my website because I copied the.
No, it's off of Whole Foods website.
Yeah, it's Whole Whole Food Market. That's who quoted this. Okay. Let me finish this. Top executive has decided it's time to surrender to Monsanto. Top executives from
now you know the Whole Foods is not going to say something like that. No,
listen, you're in some sort of illusion today.
No, there's no way.
Right,
Whole Foods is going to say on their website that they surrendered to Monsanto.
I want you to let me finish reading this. Okay, let me finish reading this, and then let people make their own decision. You have your own bias and your own opinion. That's fine. But I just read to you what Codex Alimentarius is also doing, and they're following the Codex Alimentarius guidelines because the United States and Canada are Codex Alimentarius compliant. They have no choice. Okay, these free trade agreements going on with Europe right now, with the United States and Canada to align themselves, they have to change their policies and what they're doing. And let me finish reading this. Top executives from these companies have publicly admitted they no longer oppose the mass commercialization of GE crops, such as Monsanto's controversial Roundup Ready alfalfa, and are prepared to sit down and cut a deal for coexistence. Whole Foods has been selling meat for over 15 years that were being fed genetically modified corn and genetically modified components and then calling it natural. That's what they were doing. Okay, and that's also, you can find that out too. Whole Foods markets, while proclaiming their support for organics and seed purity, gave the green light to USDA bureaucrats to approve the conditional deregulation of Monsanto's genetically engineered herbicide-resistant alfalfa. And this is not just the only thing. And this was done January 21, 2011. And I've got it whole highlighted. You can go on my webpage, look at the August 2012 link, scroll down, you'll find the article, and then you can do your own research.
Okay, thanks for that. I was wrong on that. They didn't announce that we're not going to sell. Sorry, this is a big deal. They did not, but they announced that they were going to be labeling GMOs in the end of 5 years.
They have to do, and they have to do that to comply with the marketing. GMO labeling will become a reality in the United States and Canada as well. It's just they're not doing it now. They realize, and this is why Cheerios is now coming out with a genetically modified free Cheerios, because they were one of the first ones on board to stop any GMO labeling, and it killed the market.
But it's wheat anyway. It's oats. They don't have GMO oats, do they?
Sure they do.
Yeah.
Sure they do. I mean, if you go look in the December 2012, there's not a grain out there that you're not eating that has some kind of mycotoxic activity going on as a result of genetic modifications. Like I said, if you're buying your food from a farmer or from a gardener, that's the only legal loophole that the Codex Alimentarius will allow. So you're growing your own stuff and you have a garden and you got your heirloom seeds going. You can eat that food, no problem. You can even distribute that food to your friends and family. That's no problem. That food will have the nutritional value. But once it's been planted, harvested, and gone through the system, that's when it becomes modified or engineered to do whatever. And this is what they're doing. And this is why so many people today are not recovering or bouncing back like they used to. Why we need to take so many supplements today to offset what we're not getting in our food. I mean, the very first thing they're saying, in here is they want to strip down anything of any value because they consider nutrients as a poison, because when you have a nutrient or a component in your foods that can cure you, then it's a medicine. So this is one of the reasons why they're stripping it down. I've got people contacting me from all over the planet. Australia, New Zealand, Holland, Germany, Italy, Spain, throughout France, throughout all of Europe, and it's almost the same thing that's going on there as is here in the United States and Canada. People are getting sick, they're getting ill, they're having huge issues with diabetes, they're having issues with cancer, they're having issues with digestive disorders and endocrine disorders. We did a video on how to make your own testosterone. That thing flew off the chart. And I've got people contacting me from the Middle East on that one. So because they're all having problems with sexual dysfunctionality, because again of the food that they're eating, because it's stripping them down and it's attacking their reproductive and their digestive system. So it's that comfort zone that we've come accustomed to. We have to really wake up on this because we're not in that zone anymore. And I keep telling people, we're not in 1970 anymore. We're not in 1960 anymore. We're not in 1980 anymore. We're in the year 2013, 2014, and we are dealing with genetics on every level.
We're not in Kansas anymore?
We left Kansas quite some time ago.
Somebody sent me a really nice link to their website, facts on frequently asked questions on GMOs. and they're real clear about which ones are most likely to contain GMOs: alfalfa, canola, corn, cotton, papaya, soy, sugar, zucchini.
That list is outdated. I know that list.
And
gone a lot further than that.
What can I do to avoid GMOs? They say choose organic products, look for non-GMO products verified, look for the non-GMO shopping list. There are 365 everyday value or non-GMO.
That, again, is outdated, and I wouldn't go by that guideline anymore.
How do you know it's outdated? You don't even know how one was put up. Why would you say that?
I read that article myself, and it's been outdated. There's a consumer report on GMOs that you can go on. They give you a whole list of the foods that supposedly are considered safe. But again, that's not a reality anymore. It has not been for quite some time. I mean, you cannot plant, like I said, if you got a farmer besides another farm that's growing GMO, even if it's organic, there's going to be that cross-contamination. You can't get around that. And all the scientists are saying the same thing. We even had one scientist here who had worked in the industry, came to Windsor, and was saying that not only is the bacteria being altered in the soil, but so are the worms. So, I mean, we are far, far beyond Kansas, and the lethality of this technology is far more outreaching than most people realize.
Here's an email. Good morning, Tony and Patrick. I tend to agree with Tony. My teacher of acupuncture always said that we should be able to eat dirt, and the body should be able to extract what it needs and rid itself of what it doesn't need. We need to be the alchemist, as challenging as it may be. I believe we should do the best we can regarding food choices, but I also think we don't want to live in fear or in a bubble. I think we don't know the half of it.
That's right. Yeah, I agree with him. There is ways around it. Okay?
Well, see, I think you're living in fear and I'm not, Tony, to be real
Maybe
frank
I'm
with
living
you.
in reality and you're not.
Yeah, but I'm not sick.
Neither am I.
Well, then, see, we're both, it's
okay. But again, you take supplements and things to offset the capacity so you don't get
But
sick.
don't you think, I mean, the body's going to figure out, Tony,
the
body's going to figure out a way to genetics. I mean, look at all the Bruce Lipton's work with the epigenetics.
No,
we can figure it out.
You cannot fight genetics and you cannot pull it out. But these are proteins that bind with your DNA and your genetic code.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to believe that. Why would I want to believe that?
Because it's science. Go look it up.
Yeah, but science. Are you gonna be like a allegiant to science, allegiant to yourself as soul, as a spiritual being that you can tell your body whatever you want it to believe?
You live in a physical body. You live in this physical reality. Well, no matter how spiritual you are, you still live in this domain, and you are affected by the laws of science in this domain.
But I think you can
care what you say
you can direct your body what you want it to do.
Really? I got people that believe what you believe, and they're sick.
Well, obviously they're not believing it's strong enough.
Oh, that's a lot of horse hockey. I got people who are Christians, Jews, Muslims.
I don't care about the religion. This is not a religious thing.
Oh, yeah, let me finish. You want to get into a debate, we'll get into a debate.
But it's not a religious thing.
People
It's got nothing to do with religion.
Beliefs in their face. Okay, I'm not disregarding that either. You are. I'm not. Okay, they do have their own spiritual beliefs. They do believe in God. They believe in a higher power. They believe in whatever, just like you do. Okay.
You don't know what I believe.
Well, you tell me all the time you believe in some higher form of whatever, so I obviously believe in something more than
I've never used those terms, so.
Doesn't matter. You still, whether it's a semantic you want to debate or you want to debate the reality here. No. The reality is people have spiritual beliefs, whether they're New Age or whatever belief systems they are, whether they believe in Tao, whether they believe in whatever religion they believe in or whatever ideology or philosophy. Yet they're the sickest people I know because they see me.
Well, maybe they're not doing it right.
Maybe. That's a possibility. I wouldn't rule that out either, but I'm telling you that the odds are not that they're not doing it right, it's that what they're being poisoned with. And I have more of a tendency to believe this.
But maybe they believe that they are being poisoned, and that's why they're being poisoned.
No, genetics is poison. Genetically modified organisms are a poison. Okay? When I strip down the plant from its essence, from its value, when there's nothing left in that plant, and all I'm putting is a genetic material, I am poisoning the body.
And so you don't think that the body, if you know that information, you don't think that you can figure out how to deal with it?
I have been afflicted with Morgellons. I know what Morgellons is firsthand. If I had never been afflicted with this condition, I would never have believed this could exist. I had a woman.
But maybe you just happen to figure out how to let go of it.
Oh, no, it has nothing to do with that. That's a lot of baloney.
No, you don't know that. No, maybe you just haven't figured it out.
That's a lot of baloney. Trust me, I've been working on this thing for 3 years with another cohort.
Well, maybe you just haven't cracked the code yet.
Oh, well, I'm cracking it. Trust me, I've got it down. I'm getting
I know you're doing good, but I'm saying,
you know what I'm saying. Story here. I had a woman walk through my door. She was tested for 36 pathogens. She had 28 of the 36. That is humanly impossible. Now, she didn't believe this on herself. Somebody poisoned her food supply with the Morgellons. Okay, this is a reality, and this is the same thing going on in the food supply. If you want to stay comfortable in bliss, by all means do so. But if I'm telling you what I'm telling you, and I've got validation here to validate this, people see me, if this was the case, what you're saying, their spiritual side would be far more stronger and whatnot and so forth, they would not become the seeds.
No, you're putting words into my mouth. I'm not saying that at all.
I'm saying that.
Okay. All I'm saying is that you and I are spiritual beings. Every one of us. We're not the body. We're not the mind. We're not the emotions. And we can control all of those things. That's my argument, period.
But you cannot control the reality of the fact that you live in this reality. You are bound by the physical laws because you live in the physical home. And if that physical home's foundation is being eroded, you go down. I don't care how spiritual you are.
I'm not going down. Well, I'm not going anywhere. How
come?
Okay,
then quit taking your vitamins and see how long you last.
Well, I didn't say I'm going to quit taking my vitamins.
I'm telling you this. You believe this theory that you're telling me. All right, then quit taking the vitamins you're taking, and we'll see how long you last. Because if you're going to base what you're saying is true, then you should be able to eat whatever you want to eat. Doesn't matter if it's
There's no doubt about it. And that's where I'm going.
You should be able to withstand the onslaught of that poison based on what you're telling me.
That's right. I agree. I believe that. And we talk about a lot on this show. We talk about a lot about in this show because I don't think that we're going to even have some of these things available, Tony, in the years to come.
I agree with this.
So we got to have to figure out how to do it without it. Otherwise, we're just going to all die, and that's not.
And I do believe that's going to happen too.
Well, population is. Why would you believe that?
Because of the. Do
you know when you say that your cells hear that? Do you know that? And that's why you will.
No. Georgia guide.
No. Yes.
Okay, well, that's where I'm coming from.
No, you're coming from a wrong position. If you're talking to your cells and you're telling your cells you're going to die.
Oh, I'm not saying you're saying this.
No, you just said you just told your cells you're going to die.
I said that the people are going to die. Yes, because they're dependent on these supplements.
So you think you're not going to die if you tell your cells you're going to die?
But it has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Yes, it does.
It has absolutely nothing to do with what we're talking about. Nothing. What we're talking about here is this, that your body's foundation is being poisoned and corrupted. And I'm telling you because you believe...
No, your body is. Don't talk about my body.
Your belief based on
your body.
Acknowledgement. Now, I'm saying to you...
Why don't you say my body is being poisoned?
Get your vitamins, cut all the things you're taking, start eating the things you think is safe, and we'll see how long you last. Let's test this theory that you're saying. Let's test this belief system.
I can do that.
And I'm a man of substance. I say I have beliefs, but I have to have substance to back that belief.
But I barely even take any vitamins, Tony. I don't take that many. I don't even take them half the time. What you're taking is
high-powered. You're using colostrum. You're using chaga. These are very
no, those aren't vitamins. Those are food, man. That's food.
You're getting your nutritional... Quit taking those. See how long it lasts.
Well, no, why would I quit taking those? That's food.
But you have a theory that you could eat whatever you like, and you're going to survive. So let's cut that out. Cut those things out as well.
Oh, so you want me to go out eating the worst food, right?
The food, because you're saying that the food should be able to sustain you. So go ahead, you do this. I want to see how long you last. It won't last 30 days, I guarantee it.
Well, that's ridiculous. Saying, okay, you're going to pick the worst food.
I challenge you.
That's ridiculous. Why would you do that? You pick the best food.
Okay, fine. I challenge you to test that belief system.
What?
What I just
I'm
said.
doing it right now. That's all I do is eat the best food I can.
Whatever substance you're taking, supplements you're taking, eliminate all that. Don't take one. And just base your belief system on this food system that you're saying to me that you should be able to tell your body it's going to do this. I want to see this. But put it to the test. That's the way I am. I'm a man of substance. You're saying you have a belief system. Great and wonderful.
The only thing I'd have to give up would be the Intramax and the Intramin. Other than that, I don't take any other stuff.
Then quit the colostrum, quit the chaga.
No, colostrums are not vitamins. They're food.
Quit it. It's a supplement.
No,
quit it.
Come on. Then you say, well, you got to quit butter because it's good for you. Give me a break. Come on. Your argument is just
let's put it to the
Let's put the BS here. Let's cut the BS. It's a stupid argument. Why would you quit?
Your supplements.
No, give me a break. Why would you get rid of a food that you know is good like colostrum?
supplement. You know that as well as I do. So eliminate that because it's boosting your transfer factors. It's boosting your immunoglobulins. It's going to help support your immune system.
Of course it does.
Get off the pathogens that you're
or
exposed
whey protein.
Now, based on what you're telling me, your belief system is saying to me that you should be able to modulate whatever you're eating so you can eliminate the genetics and all these. Okay, let's put it to the test.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You mean do that right now? Well, maybe I'm just not spiritually evolved enough to do it right now, but that's where I'm heading.
What I'm telling you is that you couldn't do it. That's what I'm telling you.
Well, I know.
Your body's being corrupted and poisoned on its key levels. Your chakra points.
Your body is. Quit talking about my body, will you?
Fine. Our bodies are being corrupted from the top of our chakras down to
your bodies.
Every organ, every part of the system that produces an energy or a component in the system to regulate the body is being undermined. Yeah. Everything. The top two places that are undermining us with the food supply is your digestive system and your endocrine system. And once your endocrine system becomes compromised, you die. That's it, all of us. And with the digestive system being corrupted, this is why so many people are having IBS and Crohn's and leaky gut and all these other issues, is because the very foods they're eating are corrupting and corroding that part of the body. And if you can't absorb your nutrients properly, which you're not getting much of anyway, you are going to wind up becoming debilitated. That is science, that's common sense, and that's just the way it is.
Okay, what's your first name? Where are you calling from? Hello? 888-663-6386. Email patrick@oneradionetwork.com. Okay. Patrick, please do your homework. Even Dr. Seneff and Dr. Mercola and many others agree with Tony is telling you about the food value production today. You need to interview some PhD-level biochemists and soil scientists. I do. I know what he's saying is technically correct. I'm just saying that we as soul can get around it. That's the only argument. I'm not saying that I think what he's saying is accurate. Now, I'm not sure what Tony's saying on this whole Codex thing that all the farmers are irradiating the food. I think he's incorrect there. But
I'm not saying the farmers are irradiating the food. I'm not saying that at all. You're the one thinking this. I'm not saying that. By the time the food is produced and harvested and shipped off, by the time it gets to where it's got to go, that's when they start doing this. The farmers themselves, a lot of them, the ones that are trying to grow the clean food.
So you're saying that the farmer that we'll talk to this morning, he puts it on the truck, and somewhere between the truck and the Whole Foods in St. Louis, somebody goes in the truck and irradiates it?
No, maybe in a warehouse or in some distribution place, yeah. Really? I do.
Really? I'm not sure about that, but you may be right. Hi, what's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Jim from Santa Fe.
Hey, Jim.
Hey, Patrick and Tony. I know people 80, 90 years old that have never taken any supplement, and they just eat whatever they want to eat. So how do you explain that?
Basically, people who are 89 years old didn't have the food contamination that we have today. And back then, they had a foundation. They were not eating chemically laden food. They were not eating GMO foods. They were not eating anything out of the ordinary. They were eating what was natural. So they had a foundation. I agree with you. 80 and 90-year-old people today are a lot healthier than 20-year-old people. I had a 26-year-old woman walk in the door the other day who's got diabetes, which is 26 years old is impossible. So something's gone wrong. So again, when you're talking 80 and 90-year-old people, that's a whole different ballgame. That's pre-Second World War. And so what they were eating back then was what it was. They were eating fat. They were eating meat. They were eating bread that actually broke down. They didn't have to worry about the gluten, which is, again, another overdone thing. Gluten was never the issue with wheat. It's when they started hybridizing and when they started genetically engineering the proteins, that's when it became a real problem. Back in the day, you could eat wheat that would keep you with a strong heart. So a lot of these 89-year-olds today, they have a foundation. Anyone born after 1980, they pretty well don't have anything. And that's where you see the bulk of if you do a survey, that's where you'll see the bulk of the people who are the most ill is anyone after 1986, 87 on. That's when you start seeing the biggest issue with debilitation and whatever. I mean, they got thyroid issues that they never had back in 89 years ago. They've got reproductive issues. I mean, they can't, guys can't get aroused anymore. Women are not interested, because of the estrogens in the food supply. Plus, not only that, they weren't getting vaccinated back in those days either. So the vaccines have a lot to do with the accelerated aging that people go through. The foods we're eating today are increasing exponentially accelerated aging. Like I said, when you have a 26-year-old coming to see you with a diabetic issue, that's an accelerated aging condition. Because usually people with diabetes, normally, are about 80 or 90 is when that starts to happen if they live that long.
Okay, here's an email from Robert for Tony Pantalleresco. It is 10 before the hour. Can Tony explain what he means by polymers? Are there good ones or bad ones? Almost everything is some sort of capsule or binder. Polymers.
Polymers are basically a matrix of chemicals that they use to create whatever they want to create. In the case of the health food industry and the supplemental industry, they're using these polymers which do not break down in the system. I tell people now, if you're going to buy anything that has any fat in it, like MCT or evening primrose oil, cut it, draw it out, and suck it up and throw it away. You'll actually feel it feels almost like a plastic. These polymers will bind to your colon. They'll bind to your digestive system so that when you're exposed to chemtrail activity, these chemtrails which penetrate the epidermis, get into the skin, they will have this material to start replicating and taking over.
Hello?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Your phone just did a weird thing. Go ahead.
Someone's trying to get hold of me.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I got aliens now wanting to call me.
Mouth-breathing Anunnaki are coming after you because you're outing Codex.
I'm outing a lot of things.
Here's an email from Sandy. She said, I'm an optimist but also a realist. I read Codex Alimentarius, and I agree with Tony. I'm one of those eating as clean as I can, grow most of our own food. We don't eat grains. I'm still struggling with my health. Recovering from mercury poisoning has been a real challenge. I've had a dental revision, changed my diet, taking supplements recommended by Patrick and Tony. Also use the Health Bounce, the Rebound Air, and the Relax Sauna. Does Tony have any suggestions for getting the digestion going?
Okay, so she's got mercury poisoning. Tell her to use the sodium thiosulfate. That'll pull that right out. And then start using more iodine in the diet. Don't take the sodium thiosulfate and iodine at the same time because the STS will pull out the iodine as well. So taking it at separate times. This should help expedite the mercury out of the system more readily and more quickly.
How do you know, in your opinion, how when you've taken enough sodium thiosulfate? I haven't taken it for several months now. I mean, and
you're probably still feeling pretty good.
I am. So I'm thinking, how would you know when you want to quit taking it?
4 weeks.
Or start taking it again, I guess.
I mean, I think anything more than that. I mean, I did it for 5, and I think it was starting to become, the 5th week was starting to become like overkill.
Yeah.
I thought, you know what, I really don't need to go more than 4 weeks. I think 4 weeks is an adequate amount of time. I think even the research on it was for 4 weeks, depending on the exposure of contamination that you were involved with. And sometimes what they would do is they do a 4-week term, take a couple weeks break, and then do it again, kind of thing, depending on the level of. They initially used this thing for miners who were breathing in a lot of the dust from whatever they were mining. So, I mean, personally, I would even maybe consider doing it on a seasonal basis. We have 4 seasons here, or twice or 2 to 4 times a year. May not be a bad idea because we are being overloaded with a lot of chemtrail activity. So you are going to be accumulating a lot of metal particulates in the skin and in the system. So this can help reduce that dramatically by doing that in a periodical fashion. I mean, if you want to do it more, I don't see why you couldn't. But again, it's pretty potent. So I mean, I think you need to give your system a rest afterwards because of the way it.
And what's that website? What's that website that we got it? It was, I forget now. What's the name?
Chemicalstore.com.
Yeah, chemicalstore.com. And people email me all the time, Tony, and they're asking what kind. And I think the kind that you had recommended was the sodium thiosulfate pentahydrate, which is like little beads, little beads. You just mix in water, about a teaspoon with some vitamin C, right?
Yeah.
At night.
Yeah.
And boy, it'll holy cow.
It'll emancipate you.
It'll emancipation proclamation in the morning. I tell you what. Yeah, you got stuff coming out of you that you're saying, holy moly.
I got to tell you something, though. I've had some people use that stuff, and it's taken like 2 weeks before it started to work.
No, that's amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing.
I went about 3 hours the first time.
Yeah, I took it the one night about 2 in the morning. By 6 or 8 in the morning, when I got up, I had to run like crazy to the washroom, got in there, parked and plumped. I mean, it was just unbelievable what came out. It was and fast. I mean, I've never seen anything work that effectively. I don't think I've seen anything in the market work like that. So,
how about you and the Pure Gum Spirits, the turpentine? Do do you take that ongoing now? Because
Yeah,
I haven't
I do.
taken that for a while as well.
Yeah, I do. That one, I do it all. Cycle on and off on that one. But yeah, definitely, that's a go-to for me.
What do you take it for exactly?
Again, I'm dealing with the Morgellons issues, so I'm helping to break down or reduce or to maintain my immune system so I can. The key to Morgellons, I'm finding more and more, is the more time you give your immune system to strengthen, become more fortified, the more readily available it is able to fight off what's going on and develop its own immune response. I find there's 4 components that are required to beat the Morgellons, and it seems like that seems to be the trigger of the working effect with me. You need salt, you need iodine, you need phosphorus, and you need sulfur. Again, it's because of the way they work and how they work at reducing, how they work at fortifying your body. And now I'm looking at something else to regain or recharge the cells by using ATP. There's a product out there called vitamin B4 or adenine, okay, because sometimes vitamin B4 can be construed as choline bitters, but it's not choline, it's adenine. And adenine converts to adenosine. If you add phosphorus to it, you have ATP. Now, there are foods you can eat that can actually produce and increase ATP production.
Adenine. How do you spell that? Adenine.
ADENINE. Adenine.
Okay.
Now, it's not a cheap product by no means, but this is something I'm surprised the health food industry hasn't jumped on because everyone's tired all the time, right? You're doing radio shows. I'm doing radio shows. I'm formulating. I'm consulting with people. I'm up till like 2 and 3 in the morning, up by 8 kind of thing. But that's all the sleep I feel I really need. I find that and I started using things to help boost my ATP production naturally. Ginger will produce ATP for the heart. Hawthorn berry or hawthorn ATP. Vitamin B3, vitamin B2, vitamin B5. These are also required to produce ATP. If you take, there's actually a formula I found where they combine thyme, rosemary, turmeric, fennel, grapeseed, dandelion, and ginseng, and it actually increased the ATP production quite substantially.
What's
so
the
anything
name,
that we can do to boost ATP for a lot of you, okay, you're using something I call peracetam, the nootropic formula I showed. That produces ATP production for the brain. So there are a lot of ways that we need to start thinking into, because again, I'm thinking in terms of genetic attack on our bodies and how it's attacking our systems and how our systems are being, worn out because we're constantly fighting. There's no real rest. So you have to boost the cellular energy on this, and these are some of the things that can be done. I'll give you a list of stuff that will help a lot of you to get going. Acetyl-L-carnitine or carnitine also is part of the ATP production. Creatine monohydrate and creatine phosphate. Now, you want to increase the phosphorus in creatine, go get some TSP and mix it with it. You start producing ATP. NADH, which is again derived from vitamin B3. Medium-chain triglycerides, which is derived from coconut oil. Another product called inosine, INOSINE, will also help in the production of ATP, especially for the heart. How many of you have weak hearts? Okay, you have a weak heart, the body isn't going to function because your heart's under so much stress from everyday living. You need to boost the ATP production of the heart. CoQ10.
CoQ10?
ATP for the mitochondria.
That's CoQ10?
CoQ10, yeah.
CoQ10. That's the ATP for the heart.
For the heart.
Yeah.
Got ginger, which can also increase ATP for the heart because I'm into building the heart, fortifying the heart. Fortify the heart, the powerhouse of the body, that in the liver and the brain, then things work. Golden root, which is rhodiola, okay, it also helps produce ATP. So you might want to combine, for you men, nettle, because nettle also helps, nettle root specifically, because what nettle root does is helps remove and block the estrogens in the system, helps maintain and sustain testosterone, and produces ATP. Interesting. So again, I'm working on it. I'm working on formulations right now. I'm trying different things, seeing what's really working. I know since I've been playing with this stuff, I noticed that my vitality levels have jumped up exponentially. Seems like I'm not suffering the pain. And when the ATP levels go down on a cellular level, that's when a lot of pain will start to occur as well. So again, we need to realize that this is part of the issue there.
What was that one product that you said that had all these different things in there for ATP production? Was it one product that had all these things?
Well, it's a combination. I mean, the herbal mixture?
Yeah, the one that you said about 2 minutes ago, and you mentioned all these different...
Well, they put a formula together where they added thyme, rosemary, which you have, and growing wild in your...
Lots of rosemary.
Yeah, rosemary. Rosemary, she's the one. Okay, turmeric, fennel. I'm not sure how the fennel works. I have to look that up. I'm not sure why that's in there, but I have to look it up. Grape seeds, dandelion, and then a type of ginseng.
And that's a formulation you make.
Yeah, that's a formulation they put together. Now, I'm still studying it, still trying to figure it out. I can understand what they're doing with it and where it's working on some things, but I still have to do a breakdown of this stuff to see why it's doing what it's doing. And then, because again, I formulated one with rosemary, nettle, rhodiola, and there was a fourth thing I added to it. I have to look at the formula maybe during break. But anyway, it's designed specifically to build ATP. I even take it before I go to bed so that while I'm sleeping, my body can, stimulate the ATP production so I can regenerate and recover. I'll take a tea mixture with nettle root, nettle, ginger, and hawthorn, and rosemary. And I'll add TSP to it as well, the trisodium phosphate, and I'll add creatine to it. So again, I'm producing ATP throughout the day, so I have it going on in my cells. See, when the cells are charged up with what they need to fire, it regulates all kinds of things from brain acuity, heart efficiency, liver efficiency, cellular longevity. A lot of these things can go on. Now, getting a hold of B4, vitamin B4 or adenine is really going to be a challenge because, again, it is out there, but it ain't cheap. So I'm looking for, suppliers along this line as well. But again, this is something for a lot of you, especially if you're driving truck. You truck drivers could use this stuff. Combining rhodiola with nettle and ginger and hawthorn can make a world of difference for endurance, for driving truck, for those of you working in factories, doing construction work. This is, again, another thing that might be viable for you by using that regimen I just said, and then combining creatine with phosphorus. Again, you might find all of a sudden your ATP levels will go up. Making sure you're getting adequate amount of vitamin B3, niacinamide, or nicotinic acid, which converts to NADH, is part of the component of adenine. You want to use vitamin B2, which produces a flavin, which works on the hydroxyl side of that. B5 for the coenzyme A production. So by adding these things with this, you can see cellular activity increase and improve. And when that starts to happen, that's when your immune system can really step up a notch to fighting off whatever you're dealing with. So again, if you're tired all the time and you're feeling exhausted, it could be because of cellular lack of energy. So again, these are things that you can utilize and build up in the body. So and build up on the cellular level. So again, we can. And I always offer suggestions because I know what we're dealing with on so many molecular levels and genetic levels. So we've got to start dealing with healing and things on the same level, on a genetic and molecular level. We've got to get to that level of growth and evolution where we're not thinking these conventional things that we thought, or not thought, but did work back 50, 60 years ago. We have to deal with the here and now. So I'm showing you how to deal with these things on a genetic and molecular level because that's where you're going to win the battle.
Okay, it's 4 after the hour. We're going to do a quick station break. It's only 10 seconds. Stay right
From
there.
the Hill Country in Texas, this is OneRadioNetwork.com.
Talk to Patrick now. 888-663-6386 or email patrick@oneradionetwork.com.
With Tony Pantalleresco, he is on the second Monday of every month. And Tony, give folks all your contact stuff because I never get it right. Okay, if you go to YouTube video, he's got Where do they find the YouTube videos? Wait a minute. Oh, I got to turn this thing up. Let me do the right thing. Okay. How do they find your YouTube videos, first off?
www.youtube.com.
Yes.
Type in Herbs Plus Beadworks.
Herbs Plus Beadworks.
Yes. HERBS PLUSBEADWORKS. And then you can go on my webpage. It's http://augmentinforce.52webs.com. And we also, for those of you in the United Kingdom that listen to the show, we also have one over there called www.health-access.com. Okay, so you can get this information from both sides of the Atlantic. And we also have that flash drive. We actually started promoting it in the last 4 videos we did. So it's a flash drive with 32 gig flash drive with about 30 gigs of information. And on it we have the radio shows I've done in 2007. We have the 3 books I produced. We have the videos, 120 videos, which some are 1 and 2 part. So that's included in that count. And we offered a bonus on homesteading, farming, 12 gigabyte information on farming. And we also have a bushcraft database in there as well. So this is designed to, again, for whatever times we may be going through, this will help you survive and get, not just survive, but thrive.
Mm-hmm.
And folks, I'm also looking at different things now with capacitor units and energy devices. We're using capacitors. I saw one that was really phenomenal where a guy was using a capacitor to start a car. I think that's where we need to go. Somebody sent me something about making fuel out of algae. So I'm looking at all these different things as well. I think we all need to start looking at science from a different perspective anymore. The science that we're dealing with today is really not science. We need to go back to 50, 60 years ago when they were actually doing discovery work, real discovery work, and upbuilding and creative work to make things better. And we need to use our collective thinking to come up with better ideas than what's currently being given to us.
Well said. And also, don't forget, if you folks are new to the show, we have all of the shows that we've done with Tony. I don't know, how long has it been now? Has it been 6 months maybe? Or
something like that.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, if you go on...
I've many times a blur, eh?
If you go on our website, you can just put in Tony Pantalleresco into our search engine, and they'll pull up all the shows. And then you can download these shows and burn CDs, get yourself a little education of all the things that he talks about. So they're all right there for you. Here's an email from Joyce. What is Tony's opinion of rice bran solubles for getting the full spectrum of B vitamins? Is this considered a grain, or is he opposed to it?
Waste of money.
Because?
Because you can't break it down, for one. It is probably more than likely genetically engineered. All your rices are part of that list that's on the mycotoxin list. I wouldn't use it. If you want your B vitamins, seriously, the easiest way to do this is to buy a B complex, put it in yogurt, let it sit overnight on a counter.
Well, that works. I've done that before.
You will feel the effect within 2 to 3 days. It's amazing because I give that to people all the time, and they all contact me and they swear by it. You go on the YouTube and you can read the comments on that one, how to absorb your B vitamins more efficiently, and they all are telling you that what a difference. Like some go, wow. Because, again, like I stated, your digestive system has been under attack with the foods that we're eating. So the bacteria in the colon is not where it should be. You've got negative bacteria that causes more depletion in the system. So when you're putting the B vitamins in a yogurt, the ferment that goes on when you leave it out overnight will break that down for you one step. So instead of getting 25% of that B vitamin, you're getting more like 80%. And since the bacteria is carried with the bacteria, you absorb it far, far more effectively.
Okay. Hi, what's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Cece, Calabogie.
I'm sorry?
My name is Cece. I'm calling from Calabogie.
Calabogie?
Mm-hmm.
Where is that?
Ottawa Valley.
You just made that up.
Ottawa.
Ottawa Valley.
All right.
Yeah.
What's up?
An hour away from Ottawa.
Yeah.
Hi, Tony.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. I just wanted to know, my question is about my husband. He's passing some blood in his urine. Okay. And a couple of weeks ago he passed kidney stone. Okay. And yesterday it was quite a bit of blood, and I just wanted to see what can be done. I've been giving him a lot of, like, the NutriBullet. I've been giving him spinach, and I just went online. They said spinach is not good.
No, spinach isn't good because it'll produce uric acid, which may exacerbate kidney production. You want to give him high levels of vitamin C.
He takes vitamin C.
Yeah, and vitamin A.
Vitamin A, okay.
How much vitamin C are you giving him?
Ascorbic acid.
Yeah, and how much would you like him to take, Tony?
1 gram every 2 hours.
That's a lot. Wow.
That's what he needs.
Okay, 1 gram. Do you know how much a gram is?
Not really.
Yeah, well, that's 1,000 milligrams.
Quarter of a teaspoon. Divide a teaspoon in 5, that's 5 grams, and take 1/4 teaspoon if it's in a powder, and put it in anything you want, juice, water, whatever, as long as it's cold, not hot. Or if you buy a capsule, you can buy it in what they call a 1 gram dose. And
yeah, I got the stuff that you sent me. Mm-hmm.
Okay, you got the powder?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, quarter of a teaspoon. Is this for Robin?
How long?
Is this
for
Robin?
How long does he take this? This is Carolyn Sinnett's, Carolyn Powers.
Okay, yeah, right. Good deal. All right, yeah, make sure he gets a quarter of a teaspoon, okay, every 2 hours. That should help. Vitamin A. You might want to give him some kind of an oil, whether it's sunflower oil or olive oil with vitamin C.
Okay, what's the vitamin A? What do I do with that? What do I give him for that?
It will come in 5,000 IU units, so you can give him, again, one of those 5 times a day, support kidney support. Again, you might want to give him citric acid as well. Do you have any citric acid floating around?
No, I don't. And I was talking to Carolyn, and I don't know where to get it.
Go to Shoppers. They should have it.
Shoppers?
Yeah. Do you have a bulk barn up there?
No, we're not that lucky. But we do have a Shoppers, and we have like other drugstores. We're not completely in the boonies.
They should be able to carry it there. If not, you may have to drive into town and pick it up at either an East Indian market or an Arabic market or a bulk barn. They all have citric acid. Citric acid will further dissolve the stone, so it'll dissolve it to nothing, and so they'll eliminate any of the scraping that's going along the urinary tract there. It might be causing
we don't know for sure. Like, he hasn't been diagnosed completely. He went to the doctor about it. He said he passed something. That was a couple of weeks ago, and it didn't hurt him at all. The doctor said it won't unless it's like gets stuck or whatever.
That's what I'm saying.
Don't want to go there, so I don't know.
That's why you want the citric acid to dissolve it so it doesn't get stuck.
And I just spoke to him about an hour ago, and he said his pee was clear. So,
okay, good.
So I don't know.
Water?
What's that?
Is he drinking any distilled water?
He's drinking Culligan. Yeah, he's drinking his water. It's not just. I don't know what it's from. It's a spring. It's the spring water from Culligan.
All right.
Water we buy.
He's probably got it reverse osmosis, which is okay. How many glasses a day is he drinking?
Well, that's what I told him. The last 2 days he was off, so the only thing he really was drinking was a lot of beer. So
good for him.
That's what happens on his day off.
Beer will increase uric acid production, which again will increase kidney stone formation. No beer.
I tried telling him that one.
He has to drink. Give him wine.
My hands are going to be on the cap tonight, I guess.
Wine. Not to drink. Tell him to drink wine.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, I don't know. Like the last 2 days, he wasn't drinking a lot of water. And today, he's been drinking a lot, and he says he's been feeling a lot better. He's at work. So,
okay, well, that's,
I don't know.
Again, the beer, no beer.
Yeah.
Zero beer. Yeah, beer will make the, no beer.
Yeah, I would imagine it's like, the doctor had told him it's something like, oh my goodness, uric, kidney stone, like there's different types of kidney problems, right. And one of them is like high uric kidney.
Yeah, high uric acid, which comes from beer.
There you go.
There you go.
Spinach.
Well, that's his main thing. He's full of hops.
Yeah, well, and then he's full of estrogen, too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you got to get him off that.
Okay, you got to get off the beer, dear. That's where you got to go.
You can get him nettle root. Get him on nettle root tea and dandelion root tea.
Oh, he had that last summer. Oh, Lord.
Well, that's what he's got to get on. That'll help, again, break down the stones and will increase the diuretic effect that he needs to flush that out.
That was the dandelion with the parsley.
Yeah, that'll work, too. That parsley is also diuretic. But if you can get him on nettle root, that'll be good, too. Again, shop around, see what you can find.
Okay.
If you guys live out in the countryside there, you might want to, during the summer months, go harvest the nettle Yeah, so find out what it looks like. Go and do a Yahoo search, image search, and you'll see what nettle looks like. Make sure you wear gloves.
Do you have the powder? Do you carry the powder?
Carry the root and the powder. Carry the root and the leaf is what I carry.
Yeah.
So I'll talk to Carol and see about getting it out to you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thanks.
Take care, eh?
Hi, Patrick. Dennis writes in, was listening to past shows with Jennifer Daniels, and she was saying something about milk thistle that helped to clear blurry vision. Want to know what Tony thought about this for vision. Well, milk thistle would do the liver. Would that help the vision, Tony?
Sure would, because of the glutathione it produces.
Yeah.
Liver and eyes are connected, so whatever you do to the liver will also affect the eyes. So anytime you clear up the liver, you boost the antioxidant profile in the liver, you're going to have better vision. It's not the only thing, but it does make a difference. If the liver is congested, so will the vision. Things like taurine, which are also sulfur-based amino acid, also works with the liver and also works with the eyes and the heart. Zinc is another component you might want to use, and copper combination to produce SOD, because the highest concentration of SOD is in the eyes and in the lungs. So usually lungs, eyes, and liver are all connected. So again, if you support the one, the carryover will support the other organs as well. So yeah, it's good. I would actually even add ascorbic acid with the milk thistle to produce interferon, especially with those who have liver conditions with viral overload.
Here's an email from Western Australia, Barbara. What are bioidentical hormones made from? Apart from Brazil nuts, are there any other good sources of selenium in other foods? The Brazil nuts we get here in Australia are imported, therefore I think they are irradiated even if organic. So bioidentical hormones, first off.
Okay, there's two thoughts on that. What they'll call bioidentical is they'll use DHEA with sometimes pregnenolone, and then I'll add progesterone and some estradiol to it, the ones they do in the western part of the world, in the United States and Canada. Another definition of a bioidentical is using a herbal mixture of Don Quay, wild yam, black and blue cohosh, which I think are more accurate to being a bioidentical. Sometimes they may even use a glandular from an animal, which again is more true to the fact of a bioidentical. The other ones are really biochemistry that, again, your body uses. Now, any woman that's on any bioidentical, in my humble opinion, based on my research and what I see, and what I see with women who are on these things, the medical field is absolutely crazy. They got these things on these women for 2 months at a time, and the woman's cycle is 4 weeks. So if you're on any form of bioidentical, you use them for 3 weeks and you take a week break. Just like
wait a minute. Oh, so you're saying you would just do 3 weeks, take off a week,
then go back on it.
Wow. And why is that?
Well, because your receptor sites get overloaded. Women's bodies build up their hormones, and in that third week, the fourth week, their bodies go into a rest period in a purification process. Biology, that's normal. That's the normal
cycle. That's the whole cycle, right?
Right. So when they're giving them for 8 weeks and 10 weeks at a time, that's absurd. So the body now gets overloaded with these hormones. They can actually mutate in the system. And then you wind up with another issue. They can wind up with an endometriosis issue. They can wind up with lumps in the breast. They can wind up with cervical issues. And it's crazy. And when you're off on that fourth week, use things like evening primrose oil, the blood tonic formula I show you on the YouTube. We did do a formulation yesterday for women with PMS, which can also be used for the monthly cycle to help in the purification process and endocrine support. Anything you can do to help the liver and the kidneys remove any excess hormones, which you need to do, then that will be to your benefit. Then when you do go back on the bioidentical, whichever form you're going on, your body's receptor sites now are going to be cleared out and will be more receptive to receiving these things instead of congesting. Even bodybuilders, they use high levels of androgens, testosterone and whatnot. They're supposed to cycle off these things, but they don't every 4 weeks. They'll stay on it for years and years and years.
Not good.
Yeah.
So even the testosterone, I think they don't they do, Tony, like a cream with his wild yam? So you'd only do those for 3 weeks as well?
That's not for testosterone. That would be for progesterone production. Yeah, same thing.
3 weeks?
3 weeks on, 1 week off, And again, it allows the receptors to clear out and to be more usable for the next time you use
Do guys have a similar cycle?
Yeah, of course we do.
Huh.
Of course we do.
We have a monthly cycle as well.
it's just a little bit different. No, way we don't bleed, where women do bleed, because, again, it's part of the purification process for them.
Right.
Winds up cleaning out the uterus from all the hormones or whatever that's accumulated in the uterus, and then it flushes out the dead egg, and everything starts all over again.
Right.
So we, on the other hand, we do go through a cycle. The way our bodies work is one day your body will send a signal to your brain, to your hypothalamus and pituitary to release hormones. So your body will use it up in the 24-hour time cycle. So then in the next 24 hours, your body will burn out or use up what's there. Then it starts to cycle again. So it's almost like an every other day cycle. Same with women. But like I said, we can remove the excesses either through urine or through nocturnal emissions or by having sex. So that's one of the ways, or through masturbation. So that's one of the ways that, again, you can remove some of the excess, because a lot of guys do have problems with the prostate. And a lot of times it's a result of excess androgenic activity or estrogenic activity. So that's one way to relieve that. Again, any bioflavonoid you use, any kind of herb, peppermint, anything from the peppermint family, will alleviate in removing any excess estrogens out of the system. Any sulfur will help do this as well. So again, it's all about maintaining and cleansing, putting it in and taking it out. And again, that's all done through enzyme activity and other processes.
Did I hear you correctly? Robert writes in, say that ionic minerals are not good. If so, please explain. What are ionic as opposed to other kinds if we need to take a mineral supplement?
Okay, if the ionic is in a nanoparticle component.
You don't like anything nano?
No, not at all.
You're not a nano guy at all.
But we'll not use anything nano, especially with all the research that's out there, with the nanoparticles in the chemtrails. The nanoparticles are spraying in the food supply. I think people should abstain from anything nano whatsoever. If it's in the nanoparticle size, leave it alone. LIA, my favorite word on the YouTube now, LIA. If it's in a colloidal form,
leave it alone.
Leave it alone. These things penetrate the cells, they penetrate the tissues, they penetrate the brain, and contrary to what they're telling you in the health food industry, they do not come out. I honestly believe, again, based on what I'm seeing going on today and a lot of the disinformation and misinformation that's being spread in the health food industry, I seriously believe that it's been compromised by powers that be to create a health dilemma within people going to these places. You really have to read your labels. You really have to start understanding what you're reading. You have to understand these components that are in these vitamins now, because it's no longer a simple trust factor with these companies. They are being delegated under the GMP in the United States and our other code here in Canada, what to put in these vitamins, what is an acceptable amount. And as I showed you on the Codex thing, anything that has any value supplement-wise, they are going to diminish it down to its least nominal effect. And you get this all the time, too. People are taking their vitamins, taking whatever, and not seeing any effect. And then you read the label, and then you show them, well, this is what's in the vitamin. This is why it's not working, because they got these blocking agents in this vitamin, so you can't absorb them. So, again, really understand what you're reading. Ionic, basically, again, depending on the size of the molecule is going to determine whether or not you should use it. I personally, I'm telling you, on a nanoscale, leave it alone, or LIA.
Leave it alone. Tony Pantalleresco is with us 23 minutes after the hour. If you haven't tried this organic sulfur that we've been talking about, we get orders in all the time. We're going to ship some more out today. I'll send over the list to Cindy. It's really a fun product. I actually took some this morning about 5 o'clock in the morning, and then went back to bed and had some really fun, amazing dreams, and then got up about 7 o'clock this morning. Yeah, I'll give you a couple of emails in here. Let's see if I can find a couple here. I had a couple of them up here. This is from, who's this from? From somebody over there, David in the UK. Been taking the sulfur for the last 2 weeks. I stopped taking my old MSM because it was making my teeth sensitive. After listening to your show on sulfur, I decided to take the challenge in order the type that Patrick recommended. Take a spoonful of crystals on their own. Oh, take it on their own and then water later. feeling more energy, better. My tongue is not as red. Many years ago, I had shingles. After medication, it cleared up, but I was left with a little patch that just wouldn't go away. Today, 2 weeks later, it's virtually gone. I bought some sulfur from, the same company over in Europe. 3 of us are having effects. We all have more energy. One has become a lot more regular, and I currently have a skin rash, but that could have been a wheat breakout from a recent business trip away from my more clean diet. We'll keep you posted. A lot of folks have some really enhanced dream life with the sulfur. Whatever your experiences are, good, bad, and different, email us. Keep us informed. I had an email from somebody saying that they wanted to send back their sulfur because their wife is allergic to it, and I'm happy to do that. We'll do that. But I sent them back a thing that Patrick McGeehan says, well, if you're allergic to sulfur, you're probably going to die. Sulfur is a huge part of the body. I can ask Tony, but I don't know. It's just, I think the body is majorly composed of sulfur. So I don't think you could really be allergic to sulfur. I may be wrong. I know you could do like sulfur drugs and things like that. That's different from sulfur. Sulfur is just everywhere. It used to be in the soil before we start taking it. So she probably just experienced some kind of a detox, headache or something like that, or, rash, some kind of detox. And then somebody told her, then you're probably allergic. But anyway, that's just a little sidelight. 26 after the hour. You can get the sulfur, $79 in all 50 states. $94.50 you live in Canada near Tony or around Tony. Up in Canada, $94.50 and $99 any place else around the world. You can click and order, front page, oneradionetwork.com. If you live outside of Canada and the U.S., simply email me your name, address, phone number, and then I'll return the email, and then you can just donate $99 to our website, and you're good to go.
My name is Stephen Hewer. In an effort to heal myself of mercury poisoning and the effect it had on my body, I have been reading and applying holistic methods of healing to my body for over 36 years. If you apply the advice I'm about to share with you, you will support the restoration of your optimal health. When consuming this health food, you will support a better mood and endurance. As you detoxify your body thoroughly, then the toxic gases they give off will disappear from your blood, lungs, and breath. Your breath will become free of any offensive odor. This power food will also support the elimination of inflammation and the pain it is causing, and will contribute to a better complexion. Health and beauty are the natural result of a well-nourished body free of toxins. Every health benefit I've just described has already happened for many other people. What is the one protein power food in nature that you can, for the first time, get in its undamaged state? It is unheated whey protein powder from grass-fed cows. In late 2010, the U.S. market was introduced for the first time to a truly unheated, undamaged whey protein powder called One World Whey. If you'd like to order One World Whey, you can just click and order it right here on OneRadioNetwork.com. That's OneRadioNetwork.com.
As many investors have noticed, there has been tremendous volatility in precious metals prices. There are ways to own gold and silver that can limit this volatility. The best way to preserve your wealth is with United States gold and silver coins. United States gold and silver coins provide a great investment for long-term planning for investors who are looking to park money in something they'd feel more comfortable with than the traditional paper investments. If your portfolio is not well diversified, call us today. 1-800-878-2646. Learn how you can acquire American gold and silver coins. Learn why it's so important to have your coins certified and graded, and work with a professional organization and dealer specializing in building portfolios for investors. Call us today at 1-800-878-2646. Learn about acquiring original gold and silver United States coins. 1-800-878-2646. USGoldCoins.com.
Okay, gold is up about $80, or excuse me, $8 to $12.76. Silver's up 13 cents, 2023, kind of quiet, usually is on Monday. Oil's up a little bit. It's over $100 now. If you want to buy a barrel of oil, it costs you $100.21. And there you have it from USGoldCoins.com.
We are listener-supported, One Radio Network. Talk to Patrick now, 888-663-6386, or email patrick@oneradionetwork.com.
Thank you. I've been playing the horn since I was a kid. It's pretty nice. Huh? Tony Pantalleresco. Just a guy up in Canada, knows a lot about health. This is what he does. This is all you do, Tony. This is right? You just talk to people, do research. You have a little place up there. You all sell products, right?
Yeah, we do.
Huh?
And we do just that. We
ship them out?
Ship them out, run a shop, talk to people, do videos, do radio shows.
Well, your ATP's working there, kid. So whatever you're doing it right. Your ATP's working. Boy, we got so many here. So much confusion says down about cod liver oil. You got the Brian Peskin on one side, and then the other people about the pros and cons. What does Tony think about cod liver oil?
I wouldn't use it.
You don't like it, huh?
No. It's a fish oil product. It's an omega-3. Omega-3s actually create more problems than they resolve. I'm a bigger fan of saturated fats. I think you should be using more saturated fat in the diet over omega-3s. If you must use an omega-3, then you must take an antioxidant with it, whether it be BHT or rosemary essential oil or sage essential oil or some kind of antioxidant that's going to slow down the oxidation process of the omega-3 oils. I make a 369 here at the shop, and I'm always adding to the oil either rosemary essential oil and orange essential oil. So what they do is the components of those essential oils keep the fat from oxidizing in the brain and throughout the system. So if you must use I don't like fish oils because they are coming from the liver, and majority of the fish today majority of them have some kind of metal or metal poisoning to them. They've done research on whales off the coast of Australia and between Australia and China, and they're loaded with manganese and industrial metals that they never had before. So again, I keep saying it all the time. We're not living in 1970 anymore, and we really have to be aware of what's going on. Even if they say they're double distilled and all that crap, well, they've been distilled, and that means there's some oxidation processing which has already occurred, which means that we have a problem with this oil, because once the oil is heated above 100 degrees, it becomes a carcinogen. So that's why when you see things with flax oil in bread and other things, again, I don't buy it, because again, if you've got to bake the bread and they're using that oil or seed, then it's producing more free radicals than it's doing anything else. So
I've seen these little things. I think Dr. Marshall has some. I think I actually have some downstairs, where it's just little rosemary oil, essential oils, just a little, and you could just do a drop, really strong. Wow. So that's an antioxidant that if you were taking some kind of omega-3s, you'd want to take a drop of that or something.
I would put it in a spoon, or what I do sometimes, if I'm making a 16-ounce mixture, I'll put maybe 3 drops, shake it up really well, percuss it, we'll spread it through the oil. Same with the essential oil of orange. Again, you got to remember, these fats oxidize at an extremely high rate. There's one study down that actually says the more you use these omega-3s, after 4 years, they can actually increase heart failure by a factor of 4. So,
great.
Yeah, so again, a lot of this, like I said, a lot of this stuff in the health food industry, in my opinion, based on what I'm seeing, is being sabotaged, and people are being bushwhacked into buying stuff that they think is going to do something for them. And in the long run, it causes more problems.
Can you tell me, writes Shiara Nahari, can you tell me which is a better form of iodide for thyroid supplementation, iodoral or IOSOL?
They're both good.
Are they?
Iodoral basically is a Lugos form and a caplet form. I believe the iosol is also a, what's it called? A nascent type iodine. Both will be good. I don't see it's a good choice either way. If you're going to be doing anything for the thyroid, you must incorporate tyrosine, selenium, and vitamin D in that mixture, so you get the full benefit, full balance in there. Selenium is a regulator of iodine, so that your thyroid will take all that it needs, and then the rest goes throughout the body, into cells, into the digestive system, into the endocrine system. So, I mean, either way is good.
So if you were on a pig thyroid that they give you at the docks, one of those, like, would you then do the tyrosine, selenium, and D3 with that?
Definitely.
Would you?
Yep.
That helps that make it work.
Again, it's all part of the matrix for the thyroid. I mean, if you're using a glandular...
glandular. That's what they're giving now, aren't they, Tony, these days?
Sometimes, yeah.
The docs are?
Some other nonsense, thyroxine and synthroid, which doesn't...
those are not good.
Yeah, so, I mean, the glandular is a better way to go, but you still need iodine, If you're a woman, okay, and you've got, the more bustier you are, breast-wise, the more iodine is going to be required for you. You need twice the iodine as a man anyway, and because the thyroid and the breast compete for iodine in the regulation of estradiol, you need the iodine to convert estradiol to estriol. So the bigger the bust, the more you're going to need because you have more receptor sites in the breast area that require the conversions from estradiol to estriol. So if you're a medium-built woman, you may not need as much, but you still need iodine. Okay, so again, it's a requisite for overall endocrine health, especially for women.
The second part of this from Shiara was 50-year-old with Hashimoto's. What do you recommend for that?
Same thing.
Same thing.
Same thing.
So, but isn't Hashimoto's like a too high?
No, it's another myth.
Oh, is that a optical collusion? And they just say that?
I got a woman here who has it here in the county, and we've been giving her the Lugos with the tyrosine.
Right.
She's gotten, and supposedly had Hashimoto's. She's fine.
No kidding.
Yeah, so that's a lot of nonsense.
High and low, hypo, so you don't go for that.
No, hyper is again a different thing altogether.
Okay, I thought that's what Hashimoto's was.
Oh, it's a different.
Oh no, Hashimoto's is autoimmune, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So you don't.
But again, we have found that by giving them iodine with the tyrosine, selenium, and vitamin D, you know what? Things change.
The thyroid will get better.
It usually recovers. It can take some time, depending on how long you've been on the medications. But this woman's been doing it for about a year and a half. She's not even using the Synthroid anymore. So again, a lot of this is attributed to the soy, to the cruciferous vegetables. I tell one to use all these cruciferous vegetables, the broccoli, and for the sulforaphane. Well, if you've already got a compromised thyroid, any kind of cabbage, broccoli, Brussels sprouts can actually make the thyroid worse because they are goitrogenic as well. They're eating all these soy-based products because they're thinking that the soy is going to protect them from, again, breast cancers. Again, you knock out the thyroid. So, again, when you're looking at a lot of foods that you're eating today, again, if you have a certain condition going on, you may want to avoid things like radishes, daikon, broccoli sprouts. Again, they can further exacerbate the condition.
Is cauliflower one of those too?
Cauliflower, kale. Kale is another one.
Wow, man, those are such good foods too. But their thyroid.
You got again. If there's condition more, you can eat these things once or twice a week. Even someone who's got a compromised thyroid. But
okay, just
the way
not every day.
Promoting these things again, if you're depending on how bad your thyroid is compromised. Just like somebody with a diabetic condition, I'm not going to give them a banana to eat, okay? And if I am going to give them a banana to eat, it's going to be black through fermentation, so you can actually get the potassium levels out of it. If it's a yellow banana, you're not going to get anything out of it because the sugar is going to take the potassium right out the door. So again, you have to look at what's really going on and what can be effective to heal it and what can be a detriment to heal it. Just because it's a good food doesn't mean you can consume it if you have a specific condition.
Here's an email from Ingeborg. I would like to use sugar and turpentine internally for candida. How many times a week should the 1 teaspoon dose be taken, and should it be taken at certain times of the day? Also, is there a maintenance program after my body has rid itself of the fungus and parasites?
Okay, if she wants to do sugar, I would tell her to use oil instead of the sugar. Use oil as the carrier. Once or twice a day is fine. Once it starts eliminating it, it's going to work only if you change the diet. You must eliminate the grains in the diet. The grains are genetically engineered. Again, leave them alone. If you're not going to do that, then this is going to have a very nominal effect on the system. So again, it's all part and part. So you can do the turpentine any way you like, honey. You want to do it in sugar, fine. You want to do it in oil, fine. But the diet has to change. Elimination of all grains, all cereals, all pasta, rice, corn, no soy-based products, no canola oil-based products, no microwave, no high-fructose corn syrup, no molasses, no brown and white sugar, no pasteurized honey. These must be avoided.
What type of daily supplementation, writes Colette, does Tony recommend a natural regimen for kids to obtain optimum health? Optimum health.
The cheapest way and the easiest way and the simplest way for you, I would probably tell you get on either colostrum, if you want to use a supplement, yogurt with full fat, kefir with full fat. You just get a good B-complex vitamin, open it up in your yogurt or your kefir, let it sit overnight, and have your kids drink it the next day. You may want to do that every other day because their energy levels will jump up, their vitality levels will jump up.
That's all they need is more energy, man.
Right. So, I mean, because they'll be absorbing the nutrition. And again, minimizing any exposure to grains or soy, canola, microwave, anything. Usually the rule of thumb, if it's boxed, bagged, or canned, leave it alone.
Frank writes in, I heard Tony mention once that potatoes is one of his favorite starch, even though there is GMO concerns about potatoes. Are you still a proponent of potatoes for a carb source? I know you do not like grains at all. For any other recommendations other than potatoes?
You can use cassava, you can use Edo, you can use some of the other, the yucca or the cassava plant is very good on a lot of different things. It even has saponins in it to help with anti-inflammatory issues. So you can go that route if you want. The only reason I'm even giving you the potato, because it does have nutritional value, even though it may be GMO'd. If you take somebody off of all the grains, there's no way today, with the level of addiction to grains, they'll be able to...
Right, yeah.
There's just no way.
It's tough to go cold turkey.
Right, so you have to give them something. So the potato is the least of the evils. Again, it's not the greatest choice right now, but again, if you take a potato and start planting them in your yard, you can weed out the GMO in it eventually. It can take up to 3 generations as long as you're not spraying any Roundup on it or any form of fertilizers that has a Roundup component to it, and you should be able to bleed that out eventually.
Tony, we had a guy on last week, really interesting PhD type, that he's taking the fermentation potential of all these carbs. You know, he's pretty much a paleo kind of guy.
Right.
But so he's suggesting that his science is showing that that these different carbs, they ferment, and you get these undigestible proteins in there, and then you get the bacteria back up in the large intestine to the small intestine and up into the gut and up into the...
yeah, I've been saying that for years.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Up into the asthma and everything. So the reason I thought of that, he said, if you look at his tables, they're really interested. Somehow he's figured out a fermentation potential. The lower the number, the better. Jasmine rice, now I don't know about the GMO issues there, but jasmine rice has got 0 fermentation. Isn't that interesting? It's got 0 fiber and 0 fermentation, and so that could be a good choice for people that are going on the wagon on carbs.
I like to know how down then, because we don't have any fermentation to break down that fiber. I don't know how you're absorbing it.
No, there's no fiber in jasmine rice.
That's what I'm saying. So, I mean, there's got to be some.
No, there's on the chart it says 0 in his book, which is, how can rice not have fiber?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know how he came up with that. I'd have to look at his research to see.
Yeah, check out his book. I think we really like this guy. It's called Fast Track Digestion.
He's right in what he's saying, because again, when you're fermenting a lot of these things in the system, what's coming out is the genetically engineered or genetically modified organism.
And it backs up into the small intestine, right?
All throughout the whole intestine, and it grows right in the stomach. Why do you think so many people have a high pylori and third issues? Because the genetics in the food is not proper, and you can't break it down. I got a chart where you could have eaten bread 50 years ago, and the stomach is half empty because it's breaking it down, and even the colon is not clogged up or congested. But then when you look at the current grains today, the stomach is not only full, it's going past the pylori into the esophagus lining and down into the intestinal tract. And in the intestinal tract, what it's doing is forming like a tree ring. It's literally sealing the colon, so the digestive nodules in the colon are not able to absorb the nutrients properly. So you have this overgrowth going on, and then you wonder why you've got a candida on steroids, because the candida in your body has now also been altered genetically because of what it's feeding on. It's a bacterial or a fungi, depending on whose definition you're looking at on this, and it will be altered through the genetics. So again, this is why people are having such a difficult time getting rid of the overload of candida.
Yeah,
so when you're looking at a lot of the foods, this is why I tell you the things I tell you. This is why I just showed you the thing on Codex. If you're irradiating the food supply, if you're genetically altering the food supply, genetically modifying the food supply, what are you really eating anymore? You don't know. And again, to assume that organics is safe today is, again, a real stretch, depending on where it's being grown, by what it's being grown. I mean, like I said, scientists all over the world are saying the same thing. A guy in Mexico, 1,600 kilometers away, they found the same strain of BT corn growing from an isolated area. So again, we like you said earlier, we have passed Kansas a long time ago.
This guy we're talking about is Norman Robillard, Robillalard, PhD, called Fast Track Digestion. Just to give you a gauge, brown rice has a fermentation potential of 20, and the jasmine rice has 0. And sweet potatoes are actually higher than the russet because of the sugar.
Yeah. Again, it will speed it up.
Yeah, we'll speed it up.
High levels of beta-carotene in it. It's also got higher levels of one in it, which can regulate the sugar in that as well.
Very
Again, when it's fermented, some fermentation is required by the body in order to absorb the nutrients out of the fiber.
But it should be done in the large intestine, though, right, Tony? And then it'll just stay there.
It should pass.
Yeah, it should pass on through, right?
On through, yeah. I shouldn't stay there at all. But that's what I'm saying. A lot of these things are not passing on through.
No, they're coming back up the other way.
Coming back up, but they're growing inside and proliferating inside. So this is where the problem is arising.
Yeah.
When you did the STS cleanse, you notice that whatever you ate was in smaller amounts, and you're able to absorb the material better, because your body was able to pass that through as it used what it needed. It passed it out
because it got rid of some stuff.
It got rid of the leftover, the debris, or whatever. And that's how our colon should be working. I haven't touched that stuff since I talked with you in that one show, and I'm still eating 2 meals a day, and I'm actually eating more fat now than I have ever eaten. Again, to keep me off the whole glycemic thing, and I'm finding my energy levels are relatively stable throughout the whole day. I do eat when I need to, and now I'm playing with the ATP levels of this because I want my cells to have the sustained energy that's required to maintain also, so that my immune system and other functions can maintain, be able to fight off more efficiently. So my cells, on the cellular level, I'm not wearing down either. So again, like I was telling you before, our issues today is no longer a fundamental thing that we had years ago. We're dealing with things now on a genetic and molecular level that we need to really be more focused on. This is what this guy's talking about too, same thing. So, and I agree with what he's saying on this stuff. I'm not sure about that rice thing. And again, I'd have to see the research to really see.
It's amazing. Well, you see, his whole thing is, and I don't know how you feel about this, is that this whole fiber thing is not right as well.
He's right. I agree with him. 100%.
Fiber ferments because it's not going to digest.
That's why I don't believe in any of these cleanse kits in the market today. They're all baloney.
Yeah.
The fibers will actually exacerbate the condition more. What it's doing literally is pushing out what's there, and then it's taking over. This is why soy is not good to eat. This is why some of the more cruciferous vegetables are not good to eat, because their fibers are so dense that you can't break them down, and then what happens is in the fermentation process, they create problems and create
this small intestinal bacterial overgrowth.
Or even the large intestine. It can do that too, and even there. So it's not just the small intestine, it's the whole digestive system, from stomach down to the lower GI.
Look at the people that are dealing with GERD, acid reflux, heartburn. I mean, it's epidemic proportions.
Yeah, and the first thing I do on them is, I get them off all the grains.
Yeah.
And you know what? Within a short time, within 2 to 3 weeks, they find superior relief. And I get them on using hydrochloric acid, and then I start getting them on, an all-fat, all-protein diet. And you know what? Within a short period of time, then I get them on either cottage cheese or colostrum or MSM or something to help, or gelatin to help repair the damage that this stuff does. Because once you get it out, you've got to repair the damage. And the number one thing the stomach needs is collagen. And the cheapest way to get your collagen is by using gelatin, because gelatin converts to collagen and chondroitin.
Yeah. I think that one product that Dr. Ray Peat recommends is a good one. Great Lakes Gelatin.
A good one, yeah. I mean, there's more
and
than
that
one
helps repair
gelatin. You
that
get
helps
bovine, pork,
repair the gut,
fish,
right?
and chicken. So any of them will work. By the time you break it down to gelatin, there's nothing left of the animal except the amino acid profile. So whether if you got something against pork or pig, again, when you get it down to gelatin, there's no more pig left, just the pure essence of the proteins. And that works just as well as the beef, just as well as the fish, just as well as the chicken. There's no difference except the price. So again, you need that to repair the stomach, and the esophageal lining, and the intestinal tract. Once that starts to repair, then you find a lot of people with arthritic issues and pain issues, it starts to go away.
About 5 years ago, David writes that I had a shingles outbreak, and at that time I treated it with meds. And over the last 3 weekends, I've been doing sodium thiosulfate and vitamin C, and I've noticed some spot appearing. So the question is, could the virus have been dormant inside me that the sodium thiosulfate is flushing it out? Oh, so he's seeing some shingles after doing this. So it's probably coming out, huh?
You're right, flushing it out. I mean, if you guys, people don't realize how overloaded they are.
Until they
really
start
don't
taking it
realize
out.
how overloaded they are. And I made an example. I mean, when I was younger, I ate pork, I ate bacon.
Yeah.
I don't eat it now, but I did then. And I ate it all my life up until I was about 21, 22. And I met a guy who told me he didn't eat any pork products. So I decided, okay, because I like my bacon crisp and black, whatever, and I used to eat it. And so after about a year, I had a piece of bacon. I spat it out. Up until that point, I never could taste the nitrates and the other chemicals that was in that pork product because I had been acclimated to it all my life up until that point. Once I took off from it for a year, and then went back and tried it again, I could taste everything in it. And I just spat it out. I said, holy crap. And then it dawned on me, I had been eating this all my life. So can you imagine what had been accumulating in my system up to that point? Same thing with grains. When I tell people get off the grains, and then they go back on it, even after 2 weeks, they just about want to puke because they can now feel and taste what they're eating and seeing the results. And because you've given yourself that time, that break, and your body's had a chance to flush out some of the overload, when you take it back, that's when you start getting nauseous and stuff, and then you begin to realize, what the heck am I really eating here? So, again, because we've been acclimated to eating these poisons for such a long time, and we've acquired such a high level of accumulation in the system, that's why, again, people are breaking down, getting sick, or doing whatever. You find the people that eat the least, okay, in their
do the best, live the longest.
Live not only the longest, but don't get sick, because they're not constantly loading the body up with these chemicals or these components. And those people are always snacking. They're overweight, they're producing gas, and they're miserable, and they're moody, and they're a lot of suffering of some kind. Again, their body's constantly being loaded up and reloaded, and because of the addictive nature of some of these foods as well.
Do you think that there's any detrimental effects with ignoring hunger signals and just skipping the meal?
No.
What is a hunger signal? Is it just your digestive juices saying, feed me?
It could be that you could be a lot of things. It could be your intestinal tract is emptied out. You find it's past everything you've eaten, and again, it's saying that you're hungry, or maybe again you might feel that there's a need for something. Your sugars may drop a little bit, so as a result, your body may trigger a hunger effect. And again, sometimes it's an addiction. You're used to eating, and you're used to eating, on a certain time cycle, or eating certain foods all the time. So again, it could be a lot of things. But again, skipping a meal, heck, I mean, if you fast without eating for a couple days.
We've done that. We've all done that, right?
Are we dead yet? No.
And I would just assume if you're getting the fats, the amino acids, all the different components, the vitamins and the minerals, the body's not going to get hurt by skipping even 2, 3, 4 days if you want to.
Oh, because again, you're doing the same thing as we were talking about with women, getting off the bioidenticals for the fourth week. When you take a break from eating, what happens is your body's now allowing itself to flush out any overload, any buildup. So when you do go back to eating, you first find, you need less food because the receptors are more open to receiving the nutrients, and so they're able to convert them and manipulate the enzymes, number one. Number two, you don't have that buildup in the body. So again, the body's going to function more effectively. And because of the reduction of these components, you're healthier. You're more alive, you have more vitality, you're more alert mentally. So again, you know, some of the stuff that again coming out, you know, they were guiding on this 5-meal-a-day thing for bodybuilders to maintain anabolism. What they were doing basically was they're breaking themselves down internally. Yeah, I've got big muscles, but now your pillars and your foundation inside is breaking down because you're overworking them. You know, you don't need to eat 5 meals a day to maintain and sustain a state of anabolism in order to maintain muscle. But this is something that was promoted so that you could sell more protein products or useless supplements that didn't do much for you. And again, everything's contingent to how you're living, where you're living, what you're doing for a living, what your dietary disciplines are about. Again, everything has a certain level of contingency to that, too.
Sure, and what you're thinking, right? What you're feeling, and
exactly.
that kind of thing.
I mean, like I said, I go twice a day without eating, or I can eat twice a day and I'm good. You know, I sometimes don't even think about hunger because I'm so busy doing what I'm doing. But my energy levels are high. I mean, you know, I'm maintaining a good. My mental faculties are still functioning, as far as I can tell.
Well, you know, we'll debate that. Just kidding. Okay.
Yeah, that could be debatable. It's true.
Stay right there. Tony Pantalleresco. I'm just kidding, Tony. Time 4 minutes before the hour. This is Patrick Timpone, OneRadioNetwork.com. We, let me see how I want to say this. One of the listeners had have one of these Q1000 laser things, and I'm actually renting it from him. He's paying on it, and so I sent him some money, and I don't know how long I'll get to keep it, but I've worked out a thing with this lady who now sells these with the company, because after playing with this thing, I really like it a lot. And also, we talked to Dr. Lytle, who's about almost 80 times around the sun. This guy looks like he's about 50, and he sounds like he's about 40, sharp as a tack. And he invented this laser thing, and these things are really cool. And what I've been playing with is doing the whole proprioception on my TMJ joints and working that whole area with the laser, sort of relax my mouth and all that. And I think that affects how the teeth are fit together in the brain, and that's what he says in the manual. And also been doing some special acupuncture points with this laser to facilitate better and better sleep, and I'm doing better there too. I really like these things. Now, they're a little pricey. However, they have a payment deal. You can pay over 3 years, no credit check at 7%, which is pretty cool. So if you're really into your health and you want to take it a little step up, I have the name and phone number of the lady who I came in contact with through Anthony, the fellow that is renting me his. And the new ones have probes, or they're not really probes. There's something else where you can actually put them on a specific acupuncture point. And I don't have those, but I'm looking forward to getting a new one. And with the commissions that I make off of these, that's my plan here, because we'll get a commission on the sale if you buy one of these. And putting them on the acupuncture points around the eyes, very, very powerful. And these new ones, you can download various frequencies from the internet to work on specific things that you can download right into these handheld lasers. And they're really built. There's a 2-year warranty. So if you're interested and you'd like to invest one for you and your family, just email me, Patrick, at OneRadioNetwork.com. So you'll have a real live person who sells these. This is what she does full time for a living. She works on people. They come and do sessions with these lasers. They work. This laser technology, this is cutting edge stuff. And you'll have a live person you can deal with. She'll send you some information. And there's a no credit check 3-year payment plan if you want to do that, which is the way to go, because she's got that kind of money. Because I think they're in the $8,000 range. It's a lot. It's a lot of bananas, but hey, look at all the money you spend on your health. If you've got the wherewithal to make $200 or $300 payments in the month, then you can do it. It's a minute before the hour. Email me, Patrick, at OneRadioNetwork.com. We're going to wrap it up with Tony. Take a few more emails after this. We talk a lot about the benefits of immune system building and dampening down when necessary with colostrum. What are some of the other good things, benefits, nutrients we get from your colostrum?
Colostrum is really amazing because it's such a complete food. And that only makes sense, really, when you think about all mammals produce colostrum as the first food for their babies. So it would have to be a complete whole food. One of the amazing things about colostrum is that it contains all the essential fats. It contains all the essential amino acids, those building blocks to protein, and it actually contains all of the essential glyconutrients. These are these long-chain sugars that we're now beginning to understand are very essential to our body's function. It's something we didn't understand just a decade ago. So colostrum really contains everything that a mammal needs in the early stages of its development, and those are all the things that you need to sustain your body every single day.
The yummy colostrum now available in 2 kilo bags. So the big sizes, 1 kilo and 2 kilo from Sir Thrival. Click and order, OneRadioNetwork.com.
Know the source. One Radio Network. Nothing is more expensive than bad information. Know the source. OneRadioNetwork.com. Talk to Patrick now, 888-663-6386, or email patrick@oneradionetwork.com.
It's the second Monday of the month, and that's Tony Pantalleresco Day. It's always fun having Tony on. He's a wild man. He's got all YouTube videos up to kazoo, natural kazoo, of course, and that's at YouTube. And you can just put in Tony's names, but it's Herbs and Beadworks. Let's see if I get this right. It's augmentinforce.50.webs, right?
http://augmentinforce.50webs.com. Yeah.
.50webs.com, and that has all the written material.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll give you, well, we got a script of the show there, and I always encourage people to go check out the script. This is the research I'm doing based on what I'm seeing there, and again, trying to validate the research as well, because sometimes research isn't what it's cracked up to being either. You have to look at the source of the research, who has invested what in some of this research, because sometimes, some corporations or drug companies or whatever are putting some of the research out, and then you have to go look it up and do a high and low hunt, because, again, you don't know. But anyway, a lot of the research I've got there is on the shows I've done, and the scripts of the show. You can go there. There are recipes galore there to help you with your health. So if you're watching the YouTubes and you're seeing what I'm giving you there, I mean, the last 4 videos we did, we made making a natural antidepressant, liquefying honey, making a yogurt fertilizer, and, again, a formulary for making your own testosterone. These things are just flying. People all over the planet are watching them. And I always encourage you to make them better, and share the health. It's important that we start looking out for each other's health, start looking out over each other's shoulders. We have to get out of that comfort zone and the assumption that what we have is effective, because today a lot of things have changed. Like I said, the biggest theme today, I think we're going to have to look at as far as healing and regeneration. Regeneration is going to be on a molecular or genetic level, because that's where we're being attacked today. We're no longer having to deal with just a simple parasite. We're dealing now with parasites that have been augmented through genetics. So, again, I'm pointing this out, and we're dealing with Morgellons. We never had Morgellons 50, 60 years ago. I mean, here we are today dealing with a affliction of an overload of a huge magnitude. So it's not a disease. If anyone tells you it's a disease, that's pure nonsense. It is a dis-ease, that is true, but it's not a disease.
You mean it was man-made?
Exactly. I mean, when you're looking at the binary attack that's being done on the human being from the sky above, with the 43 components, the food crop itself being genetically engineered and then being irradiated and being sprayed with nano silver particles. I mean, there's a whole dichotomy going on here that we're not awakened to. A lot of people are not awakened to yet. And when they do wake up and see these things, and they start growing their own food, they can see the big difference is growing something out of a hydroponic or a greenhouse or aquaponic, vertical garden, pot gardens that you can grow, and you see a big difference in what you're eating there and what you're buying at the grocery store, even what you're buying at the health food stores. You can see a significant... That rosemary you got growing in your yard there?
Yeah, I got it. It's the biggest thing you've ever seen.
You have something that has over 20 antioxidants. 20. This thing can keep your fats from oxidizing, can regulate heart, protects the liver from poisons, regulates the brain functions. supports the eyes. I mean, it supports infection, fights off bacteria, fungi. You know, I mean, you have no idea how powerful that is.
So what I did, I went to the liquor store.
Okay.
Right. And I just got sidetracked, and I had a glass of MD 2020, and no, I didn't do that. No, I didn't do it. So I go looking around. This guy was hilarious, and I said, okay, I need to find something with low alcohol and low, because I can't make it freeze. So what I ended up with, I got it on my counter, it's some kind of just like a peppermint, but it's just alcohol, he said, with a little peppermint in it, but it's only 40 proof. So that should freeze, right?
It should.
Okay. So I'm going to do a cup of the needles, and a cup of the rosemary, right? And a cup of the liquid. And then right?
Cup and a half.
A cup and a half of each?
Cup and a half of the alcohol.
Yeah.
And then you're going to go 1 to 3 ratio. Okay, one part to herb. So if you got say 16 ounces of alcohol, you're putting about 5 ounces of the herb.
Oh, so only 1 to 3.
Yeah, 1 to 3. Start off with that. See what you make, because you got to remember what you got out there. I mean, it is super powerful, and you don't really need a whole lot to extract. Trust me on this one. And then when you do make it, and you do defreezing, and you do try, you're going to love it.
Okay, so I'll use a cup and a half of alcohol, a half a cup of the herb, and I'm gonna just put it in the Vitamix, right?
Yeah, Vitamix it for 10 minutes.
Yep.
Strain it, freeze it.
Strain it. Now wait a minute. Let's see. I'm going to strain it through a cloth, and then I'm going to freeze that liquid. Correct?
Exactly.
And then that liquid, then I'm going to spin it.
Put in the spinner. Exactly.
In the spinner in another cloth, and then that liquid is going to come out of the ice until the ice turns white.
Right, and you're going to see how much stronger that is. You are distilling that to make it more potent.
And the issue I had before, I was using the vodka, and it wouldn't freeze. So maybe it's just too high a proof.
Maybe. I'm not sure. Like I said,
I could make it freeze, man.
Yeah, okay.
I put it in the deep freeze. I put it everywhere.
Another thing you could do is go buy some dry ice next time.
Oh, yeah.
That'll freeze almost anything. I think, what is that down to? It's like 100 and minus 150 or something like that, 160. That'll freeze that.
Oh, you can set it right on the ice?
I put the container inside the container of the dry ice, and just let it should probably freeze in about 5 minutes.
Oh.
Another way of doing it.
Yeah, I've seen that at the store. They sell that. So if I can't freeze it, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And then, do you have to keep that refrigerated? No, probably not.
Oh, it's in an alcohol medium. There's no way. You're fine.
Uh-huh.
You can if you want to, but you don't need to.
And what am I going to do with these drops? I'm just going to take some?
You drop them out and talk to me.
Then I call you and say, what'd you really?
Oh, I'm on planet Zahui here.
Really?
Here.
I mean, it's pretty powerful, huh?
That is. You'll see.
It's because it's antioxidant.
Not just an antioxidant. I mean, rosemary. I mean, if you do the research on rosemary, it's phenomenal. I mean, it's the cheapest protectant you can buy. Protects your liver from poisons. Again, protects the fats in your body from oxidizing. Again, it's an effective herb for the eyesight, improving visual.
What is another way that you could, if I could take that in rather than going through this process, could you just put the herbs in alcohol and make a tincture too?
You can do that too. Basically what you're doing is the extraction process you're doing, it's just going to make it more potent. But yeah, you can do it the same way. You can blend that in an alcohol medium, blend it for 10 minutes, strain it, and you're done. There's your tincture. But if you want to take it to the next level, where you want to make it more potent and remove the water out of it and just have the alcohol in there, then again, it's going to be more effective.
Is it in the stems or it is in the needles?
Both. Use everything.
Well, if you ground it all up, Tony, and then put the mixture in some agave vodka or something, you could let that sit for a month or two, too, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Right? Then you'd have a tincture.
Tequila, right?
Yeah, tequila, right. Tequila.
Yeah. Any alcohol, any clear-based alcohol will work. Vodka, rum, if you want to use a white rum, you want to use clear-based vodka, you want to use Everclear, if you want to use... I mean, anything will work. I mean, basically what we're doing here is we're taking it to the next level as far as making it more potent.
With the spinning and all that stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, all right, let's take that. Hey, what's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Patrick. And Tony, this is John here in New York.
Hey, John in New York. You're on the air with Tony in Canada.
All right. Tony, you're probably familiar. Just wanted to get your take on intermittent fasting lifestyle so that we don't get our body used to eating every day. So kind of mix it up, fast every other day, every 2 days, just mix it up so that the body doesn't get used to always having food and every day, and stuff like that.
That's one thought on it. If I was going to do something like that, I might wait to just do it to the weekend. The reality is, you got to go to work every day. You got to get up in the morning, and you got to do your daily duties. And fasting can be draining when you've got, especially a heavy load to do. So sometimes I would tell you, instead of doing it that way, you can do it that way if you are in a position where you're not having to be doing anything heavily or strenuous. Again, because it can work against you when you do that as well. I maybe tell you do it on a weekend. Take a break and do a weekend fast instead. Primarily so that your body can rest more. Again, you're still going to have the same effect. Your body is going to break down any excess overload. If you want to go that route that you're going, that's fine. But again, not everybody can do that, primarily because of lifestyles. So again, if you're in a position where you're not having to be constantly called on to do things, then go for it.
Gotcha. All right.
Okay?
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
So common sense on that. Let's say you're working in a warehouse, okay? I don't know what you do for a living, but let's say you're working in a warehouse, and you're constantly lifting every day, and at the end of the day, you've lifted 5 or 10 tons of material. Well, the day you're fasting, man, you're going to feel that. It's going to really tap you right down. So, again, instead of doing it that way because of the nature of your job, or let's say you're a construction worker, or let's say you're a truck driver or a factory worker, where you're physically being put on to be alert, to be awake, to be focused, then I might tell you to do that on the weekend instead, because of the nature of what you're doing and how you're living. And again, it's just a practical guide, and it's not necessarily the end-all, be-all what I'm telling you either.
Mm-hmm. What does Tony think about omega-3 oil derived from algae?
I like the DHA content coming from it. I like hazelnut has a better form of DHA. So, again, I prefer that over the fish oils, provided that that's what they're looking for in that. Again, if it's in a gelatinous capsule, break it open, swallow the oil out of it. Do not swallow the capsule. I've done that myself, and I had, after I did the STS solution, the capsule came out of me intact, whole, with the oil still inside. So that's when I started doing a little bit more investigation on these polymers and the polymers in these vitamins. If you're going to do that, again, break open the capsule unless you can get it in the liquid state, and then just take out the component and throw away the capsule.
Oh, yeah, I know what I wanted to ask you. This fellow I was talking about, doing the fermentation potential thing, he's not big on taking anything extra as far as vitamins and all that, so he's pretty mainstream scientist type. But anyway, he says that a lot of people can use some enzymes, like catalase and protease and things like that with their digestion as they're getting it right. But he was a big fan of enteric coated. And I've always wondered about that.
He's crazy.
Yeah, see, so that's what I've always thought. Enteric coated, does that mean it passes through the stomach,
goes into the
small intestine? Well, isn't that where you want them if you got the small intestine overgrowth in the small intestine?
It's going to go there anyway. And if they're bound with a polymer, you're not going to break it down anyhow.
So, wait a minute. Say that again, what you just said?
If it's bound with a polymer, it's not going to break down anyhow. It's just going to go right through you anyway. There's this thing about using enteric coating because of enzyme activity. The pancreas produces trypsin, which gets into the lower GI. I don't see the trypsin being enteric coated.
Yeah. Well, that's what I wondered about that, this enteric coated thing and what that...
I never bought into that nonsense. I've often thought that was another one of these things to sabotage people with health. I don't care how scientific he is. I think he's out to lunch. Again, your body produces over 5,000 enzymes. I don't see any of them being enteric coated. Your digestive system the enzymes do get down into the lower GI.
They get down there anyway, you're saying.
So I don't see it. I've used serrapeptase, and there was a big thing about using an enteric-coated serrapeptase.
Yeah.
Never used an enteric-coated serrapeptase, and I've had women with fibroid issues. I've had women with cyst issues. I've had women with ovarian cysts. people with all kinds of blood clot issues, and it's worked on almost every one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't enteric-coated, and I was only using a 10 milligram, 20,000 SU unit strength. I'm not a big fan of using these high-powered serapeptase. I think you're better off using smaller doses throughout the day as opposed to taking one big dose.
Yeah.
You can't take too much of that because it can thin the blood down too much. You can wind up with nosebleeds. So if you're using just from my personal observations and what I've seen people use and the effect of this stuff, I find that the smaller doses, 10 to 20 milligram or 20,000 to 40,000 SU units, 5 times a day seems to do the trick. And none of the ones I've ever given were ever enteric-coated.
What about trypsin and chymotrypsin?
Yeah, they're essential. I mean, geez,
yeah. This laser guy, he was a big fan of that. He said that's the only, this fellow, he said it's the only thing that I take extra is trypsin and chymotrypsin.
And again, that's good because it kills cancer cells.
He said it just eats up a lot of dead stuff.
Dead stuff, too. It breaks down protein, breaks down blood clots in the blood. Yeah, I mean, it's good. Those are the top 2 I give, trypsin and the serapeptase.
And what's the difference, Tony, between trypsin and chymotrypsin? He said he knows of a product that has both, and I was wondering.
Chymotrypsin, there's a little special thing about that one. Give me a second.
Yeah.
I've got to hold on a second because I know there is a difference.
I don't even know how you spell it. I could Google it, but I don't even know how to spell it.
Give me a second.
Chymo.
Where is it? CHMO. There it is. Chymotrypsin. Give me a second here. There is a difference. It enhances the digestive system to specific dietary amino acids, so it helps break down leucine, methionine, phenylalanine, tryptophan, and tyrosine. It was used in the enzyme therapies for immune complexes and diseases to help with muscular sclerosis, rheumatoid arthritis, stains. Hold on. You need hydroxylysine. Lysine is one of the things that makes chymotrypsin in the body. There is some differences to it, but right off the bat, I can't.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's all right.
But again, there is a slight difference to it because I think the way it works and the way it gets down into the lower GI, I think that's what the difference is. But they used to use years ago when they did surgical procedures on people. They were sewing them up. They would put trypsin into the wound so that it would clean up any dead cell tissue that they might have overlooked.
Yeah,
they do use this for killing cancer as part of the cancer therapy.
Yeah, I got this dry blood behind my eye. I had this venial occlusion thing, years ago, and he suggested, along with using the laser, that I could take some of this trypsin would help clean that up. But you also said that the serapeptase will too, right?
Serapeptase will do it too.
Yeah. Would slow cooking, Andre writes, GMO-free chicken, bones, things like that be a good source of gelatin?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, sure.
Definitely, for sure.
Yeah. So could you mix pure gum spirits with coconut oil for candida?
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah, so the sugar is just the carrier, right? It's not there for any specific reason.
No, I mean, coconut oil of itself will kill off an HIV infection, will kill off certain parasites, will kill off fungal infections, bacteria. I mean, this is where they get monolaurin or lauricidin from. Again, it's from the coconut itself. So again, yeah, I mean, it may actually. What they have found, some of the research I found on turpentine is it can actually augment the antioxidant properties of the fat you're using. So it's another win-win on that one. So again, by augmenting the antioxidant properties of whatever fat you're using, let's say it has vitamin E in it or talctrinos or other components, it can make them more effective.
Yeah, an emailer writes in, one of our listeners says that Dr. Robillard could be off on a few things. Overall, he knows what he's talking about, says the emailer, but many people comment on the recipes that he has in the book where he recommends Splenda, which is not a good thing. We're going to have a doc on Thursday. It's going to talk about Splenda. I don't think Splenda is very good, is it?
It's a crap sweetener. I mean, it destroys the kidneys.
It's not a good idea.
No, it's pure garbage. I mean, it was sucralose or Splenda. And it's in a lot of bodybuilding protein products. I mean, it never ceases to amaze me with this industry how they can go through such lengths as filtering out whey protein through either isolates or hydrolysation and then add a poison to it because they know that these aminos will chelate those poisons into the system more effectively, and they will flat out deny it, says the body will pass this and that, and that's a lot of hogwash. Because once you bind certain proteins to certain things, they actually can increase the uptake of whatever you're doing. So Splenda is just pure garbage.
It's just not good.
So,
who's the lady, Dr. Martini? No, did she write Splenda or no, the other one? You know who I mean?
What, the xylitol?
No, what's the other one? The big one it's in all kinds of aspartame. Yeah, she's that's hard too. That's not good either.
It's got it causes over 144 health conditions. That one.
Yeah, she's a big aspartame monster. This is from Mel in Pennsylvania. Having a hard time getting my hands on iodine like Lugol's. Now the health food stores or vitamin shops seem to carry it. Well, yeah, but it's all over the internet, right, Tony? You can get Lugol's on the internet.
But the problem he's having is because the Lugol's is a 2% that you're finding on the internet, and it's 5% that you want. They diminished it, but you can make it. I mean, I show you how to make it. It's not hard. In the United States, you cannot get iodide crystals, but you can make your own iodide crystals by using potassium iodide, muriatic acid, and peroxide. You can make it. I mean, I've got, even if you go on my YouTube in my favorite section, there's 3 or 4 different videos that show you how to make it. Plus, I showed you how to make it as well. So, I mean, you've got ways around it. Don't be just limited to, accessibility points that you have. Go beyond that. Go directly to chemical companies or wholesale places that can sell you this stuff that you can put together yourself.
Mm-hmm. Here's an email from Andreas. He says, cruciferous vegetables, kale, broccoli, cauliflower, and the negative effect on the thyroid is highly exaggerated, and he doesn't think you're right here. If you cook, goitrogenics present in these vegetables are destroyed. He sends along an article from a Dr. Furman. Furman, he's a vegan guy, Furman.
Yeah, well, again, if he's getting his information from a vegan, let's get the information from science. That's what I would like. Because anybody who has a dietary bias is going to say, well, their side is right. I'm an omnivore. I believe you should be able to eat everything, and knowing how to either neutralize or negate the things that are in these foods. I'm not biased in that regard. I think veganism is the dumbest thing ever that walked on the planet. For a short interim, I think it does have benefit to make a lifestyle out of it. I think you got to be insane, especially in today's time. Goitrogens do not get cooked out. That is another false.
So you think that's incorrect?
That's totally incorrect. Soy has goitrogens in it. You can't cook them out. And again, most people, and again, this guy's not really paying attention. If a person has already been compromised in the thyroid, and they're using medicaments and other things that are affecting the thyroid, any goitrogenically based food, and I don't care what you eat, is going to have a negative impact on the thyroid. I have seen this firsthand with the people I deal with. So for him to say that I'm wrong, then next time you have somebody that comes along in your life that you've got to help with the thyroid, you take them off the goitrogenic foods and then start seeing the benefit and the effect it has on the thyroid in a positive way. I don't follow the health food jargon so much anymore. I used to years ago, and started doing my own research and started peeling the onion and started seeing what's really going on behind the scenes. So, again, I'm in this industry. So I know how vegans promote their lunacy, how vegetarians promote their lunacy, how the paleo people promote their lunacy, how the raw foodists promote their lunacy. They all have some measure of truth in what they're saying, but then when they start to extrapolate on things which are purely theoretical, that's when they start missing the mark.
I have a friend who's been on a pretty much sane diet for a few years now, raw pasture-fed milk, makes her own butter, lard, local veggies. Her doctor suggested progesterone cream, days 10 to 24, something like that, to balance out the estrogen. So Bert wants to know about using turpentine or sulfur to reduce estrogen.
Yeah, the sulfur will do it. I mean, why aren't they using iodine? Again, if you got an estrogen overload, that's because you're not converting it from estradiol to estriol. So start using the iodine. Even start using the bioflavonoids. The white part of the citrus fruits, your oranges, your lemons, your grapefruit. Peel out the outer layer unless you're growing it yourself and eat the whole thing. But that white part removes estrogens out of the body. It's the cheapest thing you can use. When you're talking estrogens, anything of the peppermint family, rosemary, sage, thyme, savory, oregano, peppermint, spearmint, they all pull the estrogens out of the body. Celery root, wine, turmeric, garlics, onion. These all regulate the estrogen flow out of the system. So again, when you're looking at getting rid of the estrogens out of the system, this is some of the simplest way you can do this.
Okay. Ed writes in, he's in Ohio, my hair is getting pretty gray and thin on top. I don't like what I see in the mirror. I've heard Tony touch on this briefly in past interviews. So I'm wondering, I heard Dr. Daniels talk about faux tea, also known as Ho Shi Wu, for growth and color, scalp massage, colloidal liquid minerals. What's Tony's opinion on this?
Faux tea doesn't work unless you add nettle and another herb combination called Melidia. And what that'll do is it'll reverse the gray hair. But faux tea on itself does nothing.
So faux tea, you say you got to have nettle, some kind of nettle.
And another herb called Melidia. There is no English translation for it.
What is Melidia? I've never heard of that.
The other way you can do it, too, is you can use watercress with faux tea. Then you'll see results. But on its own, does nothing. Again, because I read the same research, and again, it's not accurate.
What is Melidia?
Melidia, yeah.
What is that?
It's off of a bark of a plant that you grow in China. It's hard to explain what it is, but you can get it when you put the three together. Well, boom, the hair goes back to whatever. I mean, you can just take simple copper products, copper and aspirin, or chlorophyll products, which will also reverse the graying of hair because it's the peroxyls in the hair, in the body, that's creating the gray hair. So anything that can neutralize any peroxide in the system will reverse the graying of hair.
And that's copper.
Copper is one thing you can use, yeah. I mean, nettle has high levels of it, so does parsley, so does peppermint. The other thing you can also do, again, for the growth of the hair, one of the things you can use is MSM.
Yeah.
I give that to a lot of people for that particular thing, and I've seen some pretty good results.
Boy, Tony, my hair and nails with taking this sulfur every day is going crazy.
Again, that's because it needs the keratin from the sulfurs in order to sustain health. So, yeah, I mean, the other thing you can do is take juicy onion, dilute it with water, half and half, and use it as a rinse. Massage it into the scalp. And that, too, will help bring back the hair. Using rosemary and sage in liquid, an water extraction form like a tea, and then again using that as a rinse, or adding the essential oil of rosemary and sage into a shampoo. You might even want to add a little iodine to your shampoo. Try to use a Castile soap, something that's not so harsh. And then again, use that to wash your hair, and you may be surprised at the results.
You just may be surprised. So that's a good idea. It's so interesting that over the years, how many people have said faux tea or Ho Shi Wu for hair, because it's a kidney tonic, right? The kidney jing, and they say you get that kidney jing going, hair will turn back its color.
It's liver as well.
But you're saying, though, without the nettle and the Melidia,
doesn't do anything.
Not going to happen.
No, not going to happen. Trust me, I've played with this. The only reason why I know this is because I discovered it purely by accident. So I was playing with it down in Arizona, and I was mixing the formula, and I was just drinking the tea, and the next 2 days my hair started going back to its red auburn color, and I actually had a red line along the sides of my hair, and people thought I had dyed my hair, so no, it's from the tea. I actually talked to a Chinese herbalist there who was in traditional Chinese medicine. He says, I've used faux tea for years, and I've never seen it work. It's just because you didn't mix it right, that's why. And the Chinese, when they use it, they combine it with watercress. So again, it's another way of doing it, watercress and faux tea.
Watercress.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because it has sulfur in it, and it has iodine in it, and it also has copper.
Well, all the good stuff has sulfur in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Wild Man. Well, it's always a pleasure to have you here. 2.5 hours of jamming stuff.
See, we got you all stimulated. I'm still waiting for you with this rosemary thing. So let's.
Okay, so this will definitely be done. I mean, it's on my counter, and it's going to be. And I thought it'll be a nice flavor tone because
your Mediterranean background.
You know what I mean? I mean, it'll be a nice little peppermint kick to the rosemary. I think it's going to be good.
All right, let me know.
So if I get like real crazy, I can call you in the middle of the night.
Yeah, if you want. I might not answer, but you can call.
All right, Tony. See you later, babe.
Take care, eh?
Bye. Take care, hey? Hey? We never did call back the organic farmer to see if this whole Codex thing, man, I just don't want to believe that he's right about that, but he may be. All the emails I got, you guys all agree with him and not me about Codex. I guess I just don't like to believe all the spooky, you know? I don't know. But see, I've never heard organic farmers even talk about that at the farmer's market or anything like that. Have you? I mean, I don't know. I've never heard any organic farmer talk about it. Well, we'll just have to do some research and talk to some organic farmers who sell to Whole Foods. I love you all very much. Thanks for putting up with me. Thanks for putting up with Tony. We had a good time this morning. Sharon, thank you, my dear, for everything that you do. We'll see you in the morning. We got a great show for you tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock Central Time.
Broadcasting from the beautiful Hill Country in Texas, this is OneRadioNetwork.com.